But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Wednesday night. And that means it's show night. It's time to talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are if you've been around a little bit. Aliens. Conspiracy. The paranormal. The 24-hour news cycle. The government. Academia and propaganda. And how it just seems, no matter what you're talking about in this day and age, there seems to be a particular amount of upside down where everything just doesn't seem to be right. The things they tell us don't seem to be reality at all. And yet, we're supposed to sit here, we're supposed to take it, we're supposed to buy the brainwash news cycle like it's some sort of gospel, like taking any other intelligent thought process to it, or independent for that matter. That's probably the most dangerous thing, an independent thought process, and trying to actually come up with your own narrative and decide what's really happening in your life suddenly makes you a terrorist, as they say, a dissident, a political enemy of the state. And again, right, in a free society, that's not what we should be talking about here. That is absolutely backwards, 150% backwards, and that's why we're here talking about this stuff. So, normally tonight, what usually happens on Wednesday night is we have Ash, the reptilian from Mars. He is not here tonight. He actually had something come up at the last second. I believe Perseverance landed in his near his home there on Mars. I think he's got a fire to put out or something like that. So anyway, no Ash tonight. So we're going to be talking. It's just us, just this small little group of us. And what we're going to be talking about tonight is that mass media brainwash And you'll see there's some interesting news stories that have popped up recently. And per usual, things seem to be backwards, as always. Backwards and upside down. And that's what's going on. Okay, so with that said, we're broadcasting this live. As part of this show, as we've always done this, part of one being transparent and allowing you to, in real time, pick up the phone and call me and challenge what I say, because it's important, right? It's okay, and I truly believe we can agree, we can disagree, we can still be friends, in spite of what the media tells us, how we have to hate each other for all the division, right? The political affiliation stuff, the sexual orientation stuff, the color of our skin, our economic status, whatever it is, right? You name it, and they're trying to use it against us to make us hate each other. And of course, if you just take 1 second, take a few deep breaths and understand that that's just not the way the world has to work. Even though, of course, it's better for them, better for the elites, better for the people in power to control us. Well, we don't have to do that. We don't have to buy that. We don't have to buy the narrative. But anyway, if you want to be part of the show tonight, part of the transparency that I was just talking about is just dial this phone number, and you can be on the show at any time. 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord by going to troubledminds.org. That's the official website. Just click the Discord link right on top, and we'll put you on the show. Simple as that. We also have another Discord server rolling with the Fringe FM. So go to fringe.fm/chat, and it's the same program, Discord. It's just a different chat room. And let's go say hi. Lots of interesting, smart people in there sharing good information all the time. So if you're not familiar with Discord, it is a chat program and a voice program, and the youngsters are using it to play video games, but we use it to do a talk show. So that's what's up. And all right, so we are broadcasting on the Fringe FM, and we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and D-Live. And we used to stream on a lot more. We used to stream on Periscope and Twitch, and so for some other reasons, it's kind of been trimmed down to just a few left, a few live stream platforms left, and let's see what happens, as you may or may not say a particular letter of the alphabet that might get you taken off of the internet. But anyways, okay, that's what's going on tonight, and that's what we're doing, and we'll get to the news in just a sec, the news of the day, and that's what's going on. That's what's happening right now. But let's get to that. Let's go straight to that news article that kind of spawned the idea for the show tonight, and you may be surprised. We'll start with this, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff, the mass media of the brainwash and the rest of this. But I heard this. All right. Now, this just hit. This was like a day or two ago, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about it on the news show because we haven't had a couple news shows in a row here. But this is what's going on. Listen closely to what's happening. Again, think about it this way. We're expected to believe one thing about the world around us, okay? One particular narrative, right? It's a nice, cohesive, perfect narrative that everything's fine and everything's under control, right? I mean, lest I tell you or remind us that we're, living in a, quote, pandemic, right? So anyway, here's what the politicians are talking about right now, as we have, again, people suffering. We have people having unemployment issues, businesses closing like crazy, like people suffering, literally suffering, and having no prospects and relying on the government to do things to help them out, right? Well, here you go. This is what's going on in one of our favorite cities and states. Let's just play the news clip.
In just the last few days, 3 teens have been arrested for carjackings in Chicago. People have been saying for months now that teens are running around the city and carjacking people like it's a video game.
But now local lawmakers are doubling down on that idea, saying that video game should be banned.
Tia Ewing has more.
The carjacking suspects aren't even old enough to drive.
To survive, they have to set up and pull off a series of increasingly audacious heists.
Philanthropist Early Walker says violent video games like Grand Theft Auto could be influencing their young minds.
There are instances in the game where an individual pulls up to a car, bumps the car, taps the car, gets out, pulls the individual out of the car, carjacks the car, pulls off.
Walker met with Illinois State Representative Marcus Evans in January, and from there, legislation was drafted to amend a 2012 law preventing some games, including Grand Theft Auto, from being sold to children in Illinois.
House Bill 3531, which will ban these video games and send a message.
Different versions of Grand Theft Auto have been banned or censored in 5 different countries, but never in the United States. This past Friday, a former police officer was carjacked in his own driveway in the south suburbs. The car was later found in Harvey with the young suspect still in it.
They don't care. They feel they're going to get right back out, especially juveniles.
An expert told us the game can be the cause of violence, but it isn't the only factor.
Should it be banned? I think so. However, there's probably lots of reasons for theft and lots of reasons for violence.
Tia Ewing, Fox 32 News.
Right. Oh, right. So many things happening in the world, right? So many things. What's up, the Flat Fellow? We're reading the chat, guys. If you want to be part of the show, again, just type in the chat, and as we can, we'll read some smart comments here. The Flat Fellow says this: we can solve all this nonsense if people stop watching TV. Stop letting yourselves be indoctrinated. Great comment. Now, look, this is the thing, right? Now, this is a familiar refrain from politicians. All right, as things get particularly dicey or violent or whatever's happening, right? As things start to look ugly for the policies that have been in place for a very long time and for a let's say a crime spree of sorts. Okay, I mean, again, not to mention the most basic OMG. What's going on right now? Tons of people have been displaced from jobs, and we got eviction moratoriums teetering on the precipice. Tons of people going to be homeless if the government doesn't step up and do something. And this is what we're talking about. We're like, oh, hey, check this out. There were some carjackings. Why don't we ban video games? Yeah, okay. Nice job, politicians. You're the best. Thanks for looking out for us. That's just incredibly stupid. If I understand we have a wide demographic listening to this network, to this show. So if you're not familiar with Grand Theft Auto, it is just a game based on crime, right? I mean, you get to be like a criminal enterprising type, and it's very violent, of course. It's been controversial for many years now. This is not a new thing, but suddenly we have a rash of carjackings in Chicago, and of course, what do? We don't look at any of the underlying problems of the quote pandemic, the way it's been handled, about again people being displaced from jobs and having just major problems. Talk about depression, opioid abuse. I mean, there's an unbelievable amount of just awful things happening in the world right now. And of course, right, if you can't politicize it, you're not talking about it. And instead of just look at that, just in 10 seconds. I just listed 4 or 5 things that should be the top of mind for legislators, right? For people that are actually enabling and enacting the law, upholding the law, right? But no, of course not. This is what we have instead. We have people talking about banning a video game. Really? Really? All right. So the question of tonight is this. We're going to get into some of this other stuff, this mass media brainwashing and some other things. But let me ask you this. I know probably plenty of you guys out there have played Grand Theft Auto. I have. And it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I mean, sure, it's dark. But I mean, is it any different from like reading a novel, let's say a horror novel, right? Or something about, I don't know, we talked about the boogeyman on this show not too long ago. Something like this, right? Is it very much different? I guess that's the question here. And it is a loaded question because, of course, well, I don't have the answer to it, but I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think that playing a violent video game is any different than reading like a crime novel, like a true crime novel? With gory details and blood and guts on the floor described in just the utmost graphic prose? Or do you think it's completely different? Do you think that there's something built into these video games that are turning people and children into monsters, into murderers, right? I think into carjackers in this case. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I have never one time since I've played Grand Theft Auto decided I needed a ride and just went to carjack somebody instead of, procuring a ride in a traditional manner. You know what I mean? Again, it's an unbelievable, short-sighted, stupid way to blame all the things that are just not part of the problem, in my opinion. But again, right? This is not the answer show. This is the question show. And that's why we do this live to include you. So love to hear what you guys think about this tonight. And we'll get into some of the brainwash that the mass media is trying to pull off, and some other things about video games in particular that you may not know. So that's what's on deck tonight. But love to hear from you. If you want to be part of the show at any time, give me a call. Does anybody out there play Grand Theft Auto? How about Call of Duty? How about these games that are first-person shooter types that are just violent, right? It's video game violence is what it is. But again, is it any different than watching a movie? Any different than a violent movie per se, or reading a violent novel or a frightening novel? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot here. And that's why we do it live to include you. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord. Go to troubledminds.org. The official website, phone number's there. Discord link is right on top of the website. You can't miss it. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So as we get into some of this, more of this even, let's get into some of this this brainwash and what the mass media, again, is doing. Okay, so now, actually, but before we do that, let's just frame it this way, all right? Now the most insane part is this, and we talk about this all the time on this show, is that as we've always said, the world seems to be in a state of upside down, right? And so instead of the legislators or the people that are supposedly in charge that are doing these things and looking at what the actual problems are, for instance, if we're talking about people having major bouts of depression with social media, right, and with online bullying being okay only if you're of the right or of the correct political persuasion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like everything is literally just a huge hypocritical mind screw, if you catch my meaning. And that's what we're here talking about. It's bizarre. So why would they be talking about video games now when there's a direct correlation between carjacking and the carjacking happens in this particular video game, right? In Grand Theft Auto. But what about all these other problems, like I said? There's an unbelievable amount of problems that they should really be focusing on. But this is the crap they're talking about. This is the garbage that we're saying here. So what about social media? What about the huge bouts of depression? What about the brainwash of the engagement algorithms? What about all of these things that we're always talking about on this show, right? Engagement. What it means is people arguing with each other on the internet. That's what engagement means, right? Leave a comment, share, thumbs up, fling some poo at a stranger. There you go. There's your engagement algorithms. And these are the types of things that are creating this digital dystopia that's becoming built into our brain. All right? It's people think that again, right? Like all you have to do is just fire up any social media. Like Facebook is one of the ones, right, that gets the worst rap for these things because, of course, it's just full of poo flinging. It's what they do, right? It's what goes down on Facebook is people just get on there and just tell each other they're wrong on the internet, right? It's just dumb. It's just really dumb. But that's engagement. That's an algorithm. That's these things that, again, we're not talking about. We're talking about. What's up, Steve? That's funny, and it's not funny. The comment there. I'm not going to read that. But okay. But that's the thing, right? So we have all of these things happening, which are clear, like obvious, just terrible things happening with mass media. All right, and for whatever reason, we're going to make some direct correlation between an uptick in actual carjackings in Chicago to Grand Theft Auto and the video game. Hold on, let's look at this article real quick. This is just nuts. This is nuts. We'll talk about this and then we'll get into to the actual brainwash of the media after the break here. But this is from MSN.com, and this is where the article is. But yeah, it's frustrating to tell to me because, of course, in some capacity, I realize this is clickbait. All right, fine. However, if this is really what serious politicians are thinking and talking about, come on, get out of here, right? Get out of here. So I guess that's the question, right? That's the question of the night. Do you think that video games, violent video games in particular, have a problem or cause problems in people's brains and in our brain functions? And it's possible, right? Like I'm not discounting that fact, but what I am discounting and just smacking my forehead about is that this stuff going on is not the most important stuff. I'm sorry. I mean, like sure, fine, the crime's bad. But really, here's what I want to know. Do you really think that if you banned all the violent video games, the violence would stop tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And this is, again, the world we live in. So here we go. This is from MSN.com, and this is the actual article itself where this came from. This is one day ago. Here we go. Because of a surge in violent crimes like carjackings in Chicago, one state lawmaker from the city has introduced a bill targeting what he sees as a possible catalyst for the nefarious activity: violent video games, like those in the popular Grand Theft Auto franchise. Representative Marcus Evans Jr. from Chicago's South Side has called for the banning of sales of video games that showcase, among other things, motor vehicle theft with a driver or passenger present. That's pretty specific, don't you think? The article continues. This comes as a recent local TV news report from Chicago revealed that some carjacking suspects are not even old enough to drive, and it quoted a local philanthropist as speculating that Grand Theft Auto and video games like it might influence young people to do bad things. I don't know. Again, like I said, this disturbs me in many ways, only because I think many of us would agree that these are trying times. There's a lot going on right now, and this is supposedly supposed to stop carjackings now. I mean, come on, what's going on? This is just silly to me. But again, I am not the arbiter of truth. That's not why we do this show. We do this show to hear from you. So that's the question of tonight. So far, as we start, we'll get into some more mass media brainwash and the rest of this, and some other things about video games that you may not know. But as of right now, looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. What do you think about this? Is again, right, every several years in the news cycle, you get some knucklehead politicians try and ban some video games, right, and think it's going to have some positive effect on crime. Well, if it was as simple as that, well, we live in a different place, don't we? We live in a different world. But it's not that simple. But do you guys believe that there is an actual influence happening with video games, violence, and mass media as part of that hyper reality that we live in, where with mass media becoming so prevalent that people are losing the thread of reality and turning to, well, what they're taught in the video games? I guess that's the question. So much here. Again, it's some of it is just smack the forehead. Some of it may not be. Some of it may be a little bit more specific than that, and a little bit more pointed and maybe relevant. So that's what we're talking about tonight. If you want to be part of the show, you know what to do. 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, and we're talking about video games. We're talking about mass media brainwashing, and we're talking about violence. Do you think there's a connection? Do you think it's part of the brainwash? And I don't know. I don't have answers to this. Looking to hear from you guys tonight. Hang tight. We will be right back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, streaming on YouTube, streaming on DLive. We are broadcasting on La Fringe FM. And we're talking about violent video games, mass media brainwashing. And do you think there's some sort of correlation between violent behavior and violent video games? That's the question for tonight. If you want to be part of the show, we are live 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. And is there a conspiracy here? We have the politicians talking about all kinds of weird stuff. And again, right, like in trying times even. And we got some carjackings. What'd they say? Up 140%, the carjackings in Chicago. Something like this. Let's see. Carjackings in Chicago were up 135% last year, according to police. And of course, right, because you can't just blame the actual, the cops or blame the parents or blame you can't blame the politicians because it's never their fault, of course, for the crappy policies they put in. You have to blame the video game. And so, of course, 135% carjackings are up. So what do? You ban, or you put out a bill to ban Grand Theft Auto. Makes no sense. Makes no sense to me. Anyway, we're looking to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Hop in and say hi. Come get on the show. Speaking of being on the show, what's up, Beechwood? You are on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you tonight?
Hey, what's up, man?
You already know. Talking about all the good stuff. All the good stuff. What do you think about this video game thing?
I had to call. As far as video games conditioning people to do crazy things, right now I don't buy it. It's a small percentage when you look at the total population. I think if you really look into it, you find things like alcohol have a far more effect on society in general. But I'm not a big video gamer myself, but a little bit. What I wanted to call about was to just talk about conditioning of the human mind. And that's actually something I understand very well from, I did go to community college and I took psychology classes, didn't finish with it. But then I applied myself in the real world, my own experience, and realized, what human conditioning can do. It's, the military does it. Everywhere does it. And the key to conditioning is you don't want to let the person that you're conditioning know that you're conditioning them. And that's so easy to do. And I think people, they just don't realize it's happening to them. And I just wanted to share like an experience where I learned that myself was, I belonged to an MMA gym in 2011. I lost my father, and I wasn't doing well, so I joined this martial arts gym because they had said, I heard all sorts of good things about it, that it was good mentally, good physically, and it was. So I went there for about a year, and I got my basics down very, very well. And the guy that ran the gym let me run a class of after-school high school kids that had gotten in trouble. Most of them had gotten in trouble, either gotten kicked out of school, did something bad. So I would get these kids, and they're not kids. They're 15, 16, 17, 18. They're young men, they're not adults yet, but, they're right there. And I would put them through these grueling workouts. And at my gym, when you went there, you never made fun of anybody. If someone's struggling, you cheer them on. And you give them positive reinforcement. And you see the changes that happens with these people. And then they look to you for the answer because you're the one that showed them. And it's your responsibility to guide them the right way. So a lot of these kids were having, trouble in school, everything, whatever. So I would teach them to not be violent. You come here to release your energy. You can come here any day of the week and get beat up. There's 10 people that'll line up ready to fight you and beat you up. So I would put them through these drills, and you would see the changes that they would have. Like, they would go to school, they wouldn't get in fights. They would avoid fights. They would actually change people and bring them to the gym, and I would tell them that's good. But I also realized when I have them at that point, I could tell them also that, when you go to school, if you see somebody picking on somebody, you have to go up and you have to do what's right, and you have to stop that, and you have to use violence. And at that age where I have them with all that positive reinforcement, they might think that going in and using violence is right, and it's not. And it's that easy to change the perception of a human mind. So I could teach these kids to do whatever I say, and they're going to feel that it's right because of all the positive reinforcement that I gave them. And that applies to the general public. And you might not realize it. It might be a little more subtle, but it absolutely does. And that was just the main point I wanted to get on the show. And the government, like the news, uses fear. They scare you. They shrink your comfort zone. Like with the pandemic, they scare you. They shrink the comfort zone. And then they're the ones that open the comfort zone back up. And how big that comfort zone is not up to you. It's up to them because they're in control. They're the ones that conditioned you. And it's like written in textbooks when they talk about like Ivan Pavlov with the dogs, and they talk about baby Albert. And baby Albert is a great example because he was a baby, they put a bunny in front of him, and they used to smash a metal pole behind him and scare the crap out of him and make him cry. And then they would take the bunny away. And it got to the point that every time they put the bunny in front of him, he would freak out and cry because he was expecting the loud noise. And then they realized after that he was afraid of anything white and fluffy that looked like a bunny. And that's just conditioning. They conditioned him. And that poor kid, they don't tell you what happened to baby Albert the rest of his life, but he walked around scared of white fluffy stuff because they made him that way.
Right.
I don't think video games does that, but
yeah. Okay. But now, all right. So I'm just playing the foil here, a little bit of devil's advocate, just for the sake of conversation. I don't believe so either. I think that to me, it's basic. Is this if it's just like they say about the United States, right? Like the anti-gun people are like, oh, there's 300 million guns out there. Like it's a problem. We have gun violence as part of the problem, right? Like, yeah, sure, fine, but like, if it was really that big of a problem, 300 million guns out there, there'd be like a gunfight on every corner, every afternoon, every day. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that type of situation. It's the same thing now with video games. Everybody plays video games. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. But I mean, everybody. Like if you don't play video games, you're in the minority. So I don't know. Anyway, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that plays back to the media. Now it's because that's true. The vast majority of the population plays video games, and there's a very vast majority of the population that owns guns that don't have the intentions of going out and use them for violent purposes. They think that's ridiculous. But the media. The public media has the ability to take these small stories and make them seem bigger than they are. Like if you were to do a percentage of, the population of the United States and who plays video games and who has a violent criminal record, it probably wouldn't add up. It would probably be a very small percentage. And then, now I looked up I'm trying to do research online, and I'm running into dead ends. But I heard that like media that we watch on TV, if you trace it, if you backtrack, it goes back to like the same 4 people, the same 4 companies that control everything. I don't know if that's true. What do you think about that?
I've heard that as well.
Or?
Yeah, I've heard that. I think it's like six or seven of like the exact same media conglomerates that everything can be traced back to. And I think that's part of it, right? So if you're talking about television and the brainwash and like the social media and the rest of this stuff, they're all, kind of locked arms, like in process. And so what I mean by that is that if they're working really hard to brainwash us through, all of mass media, that includes video games, right, in some capacity. So I don't know. I think that's the question, and it's worth talking about. We got to keep on moving here, my man. Final thought while we got you on the phone?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that was a good point about what you just said about what gets where, but no, there's definitely conditioning through mass media, through fear, and the violent video games. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's more to it. I mean, what makes people like violent video games? I guess I don't know. I'm not a gamer, but I mean, they're the ones that put it out there. And it's as far as the final, I can't put my finger on it particularly, but I just know how impressionable the human brain is without it realizing. So there's a lot of times in this world you're actually being conditioned and you don't realize it. And the U.S. military does it, works better with young people. But as a whole, on the, I'd relate the video games more to the Matrix theory, that we're trying to make something better than this world. And we were talking about dreams last night. I had a dream last night. I woke up and on the news, it was like 5 years from now, some guy was going to come out with a virtual reality thing that's too real. And people were arguing about the ethics of it, but it's too real. And that's just weird because we were talking about dreams last night. So I think that had a slight impression on it. But final thought, I don't think video games make people do crazy things.
Right.
And
I think that you're probably in a majority there. Beechwood, you were the best, my friend. Thank you for the call.
All right. Love the show, man.
Thanks a lot,
I'll talk to you later. Probably talk to you tomorrow.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks again. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts, guys. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we're talking about mass media brainwashing and Grand Theft Auto and violent video games. And do you think that, again, right, like I said, it's kind of like a bad trope, a bad political trope that surfaces every several years where politicians want to blame violence or some other thing. They talk about school shootings and they talk about all this, right? Like it inevitably comes up that you want to blame it on video games. You want to blame it on conditioning in some capacity. When if that were the case, right? Like this is my opinion of the matter. That just like the gun thing, like if you say, well, America's got a really huge gun problem, 300 million guns on the street, that's just way too many, right? Well, if again, like I said, if there's a gunfight on every street corner, the nation over every single day, then yeah, we have a problem, don't we? You know what I mean? Like a really big problem. But same thing with the video games. So if all the people that play video games are just more inherently violent as a result, then, well, we'd have a whole lot of violence, wouldn't we? Because a whole ton of people play video games. Not just that, violent video games. Anybody play Call of Duty? Anybody play Grand Theft Auto? Anybody play any of these things? Like you even if you play like Hello Kitty Adventure Island or something, you're still like killing things in some capacity. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. If you guys have a take on this, any gamers out there that have noticed a change in yourself since you've been playing violent video games? Or have you noticed anybody else, like maybe youngsters in your family, younger brothers or sisters, or children you have, nieces, nephews, this type of thing? Have you noticed as they started playing video games, a change in their behavior? I guess that's probably the question here. One of the questions anyway. But yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight, 702-957-1037. So there is, now this is again, right? Like when you talk about the science, science, the science. Here's a report where they're trying to link bad behavior to video games. Now listen carefully to this. This is not so recent. I think this is a couple years back, but still, right? Like I said, it's kind of like a bad trope that just kind of resurfaces when a violent outbreak or a school shooting or something happens. They want to blame video games. So here we go. Part one of this is bad behavior, linking it to mass media manipulation and video games themselves. And by the way, Philip had a great comment. He says, "We have a nation of morons." Simple as that. Looking to hear from you guys. 702-957-1037. We're going to play this clip. TroubledMinds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number there and the Discord link. Here we go.
In our morning rounds, video games and your kids, 97% of teenagers and preteens say they play them. About a third admit at least one of their favorites is rated mature or adults only, often because of the violent content. Well, a new study finds a link between violent games and aggressive behavior in children. Dr. Harold Koplowitz is a child psychiatrist and president of the Child Mind Institute and joins us at the table. Hello, Harold Koplowitz.
Good morning.
Seems like we have been hearing about this information for years, that there's a correlation. What makes this study different and so important to you?
I think it's a very good study in the respect it's a large sample. There are over 3,000 kids who were interviewed for the study over 2 years, and they were interviewed 3 times about how often they play games, what kind of games they're playing, and what kind of effect it has on them. It has one limitation that we should note is that they only are relying on self-report. That means the kids are giving us the information. We're not getting information from teachers or from parents. But the kids are telling us that the longer they play and the more they play aggressive games, they start thinking in an aggressive way and they have more aggressive attitudes. That's not necessarily a link to violence, but that does tell us that the exposure, particularly for young kids, does have a negative effect in the way they think.
Any difference in boys and girls?
No, surprisingly not. And that's the other nice part about this sample, is that it's girls and boys, ranging from 8 years to 17 years of age.
Okay, so we have, again, a report done, a large sample size, they say, of 3,000 kids, and they're saying that there is an actual correlation between violent video games and people that have aggressive attitudes, right? Have aggressive mindsets, right? And he stopped short of actually linking it to violence itself. But what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, like somebody says here, now there's some good comments here. What's up? Bandicat says this. Video games are shown to enhance problem solving, creativity, and reaction time. Could be used negatively, though, but I need my Fallout and Skyrim, right? Which are two great games. Now, that's the thing. So video games have actually been said to actually help people as well, right? To actually help people do those tasks, like help keep a brain healthy by kind of keeping it working in like a puzzle type of problem solving type situation that the regular world won't give you, right? It doesn't scratch that itch. Kind of like, if you're driving to work and just commuting every day, sure, if you got some really crappy drivers in your town, like we do here in Las Vegas, driving may be like solving a puzzle sometimes because it's just insanity. But, in other places, maybe not. Maybe driving is just as boring as anything else, and it's not really scratching that itch to give your brain the exercise it needs, the mental exercise it needs. So I don't know, maybe, right? Maybe. So they say that video games can help in some capacity, but then in others, they kind of deride them as a violent, what would you call it? Like a gateway drug to violence. Seems silly. But again, right? Again, what do you guys think? I'd love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. One more time, 702-957-1037. Putting up the phone number on the stream. And again, so this is part of the brainwash, right? And so we're not just talking about. So no, I know it's a little bit silly. It's like a political argument. It's it's politics and it's dumb. All right, politics is dumb in and of itself. But when they start doing things like this and they start trying to legislate things that maybe have no correlation whatsoever, then again, right? They're trying to make a name for themselves, like Flatfellow said in the chat there, and it turns into they're kind of busting up society for no good reason, right? I mean, not that I think society would like go down the drain or anything if there was no Grand Theft Auto, but just arbitrarily deciding, well, hey, we got some carjackings. There's some carjackings in that video game. Let's ban it. Really? Come on, guys. Here we go. Here's the now the individual there in the clip said that there's no correlation or no, it doesn't make a difference if it's male or female. They both seem to react in particular ways based on playing these violent games. So here we go. Part 2 of that clip. Action.
And girls are just as sensitive to this as boys are.
But what's the difference between watching violent movies? I mean, we have so much violence on television now. How is that any different than playing a violent video game?
I think there's a very big difference. It's almost a virtual reality kind of experience, and it's very different than when my kids were playing games. I mean, my kids are 25 to 30, and if you remember, like Pac-Man, bing, bing, you could get so bored so quickly. But today, it's a very engaging, interactive experience, and that's what we have to be concerned about, because you're exposing kids to potentially very inappropriate material and also very aggressive material. I can tell you that recently someone asked me I asked someone about their 13-year-old son for their birthday, what I should get, and the mother said, oh, buy this video, Grand Theft Auto. And I said, okay, and then I went online, and when I saw the content, I thought, well, I'm allegedly a top child psychiatrist, and I'm not going to give them a videotape about prostitution, which really speaks to the fact that parents have to really be more involved. They have to monitor, they have to understand how much time they're doing it, and if they don't know what the video is, they should go to the store and ask them to show it to them.
You're not surprised by this, but the Entertainment Software Association gave us this response, quote, there is simply no concrete evidence that video games cause harm. Scores of independent medical authorities and scientific experts have found repeatedly that there is no connection between video games and real-life violence.
And that's the key, Charlie. We're not talking about violence here. We're talking about aggressive thinking and aggressive attitudes.
Oh, you see, right? It's kind of like we're not talking about terrorists. We're talking about political dissidents, right? It's all in how you frame the words, right? We're not talking about video games causing violence. We're talking about aggressive attitudes. You see? You see? Is there a conspiracy there? I think there always is when you're talking about the media and the things that they try and get away with, but what the heck, right? Really? Violent? Or no, violent. Not violent, sorry. Aggressive attitudes. How dare you? Where's Greta when we need her? She has a pretty aggressive attitude for climate change. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Oh, geez. Crazy conversation sometimes. Looking to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. One more time. 702-957-1037. We're talking about violence and video games. What in the world is going on? Carjacking spike in Chicago. So clearly, the fault lies in the Grand Theft Auto video game universe. Doesn't make sense, does it? We'll get to some actual mass media brainwashing after the break here. Again, looking to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Hang tight for more of this conversation about brainwashing, media, video games, violence, and the upside-down world that we live in. Hang tight. We'll be right back. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. The question tonight is this: Legislators in Chicago have tried to equate a 135% increase in carjackings to a video game named Grand Theft Auto. All right, so we've talked a little bit about that, and that's what's on deck tonight. What do you guys think? Is there's some correlation? Do you think there's a brainwash perspective or a brainwash agenda happening in video games? Or do you think it's exclusive to the news media, exclusive to Hollywood, exclusive to all the things? If you want to be part of the show tonight, love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. And we're also taking callers on Discord. TroubledMinds.org has the phone number and the Discord. And come say hi. Tell us what you think. We got some hot takes in the chat as usual, which is totally cool because that's what we do. That's what we have to chat. All right. So okay. Now we've kind of laid the groundwork here that there's some knuckleheads, or let's just say there's some individuals, there's some professionals out there. Let's drop the knuckleheads. I'll reserve that for myself. But there's some folks out there that believe that there's a correlation between violence and video games. Okay. Now, to me, whatever. It's, like I said, it's kind of a milquetoast topic in and of itself. But like in a brainwash mass media, where we know that the propaganda itself, the propaganda outlets and the things that they do, they're very much entwined in the same companies and working with the same individuals that are, running the engagement algorithms, which make us hate each other, right? That are running the propaganda hate division media, right? It's very much the same conglomerate of these media companies that are also creating a lot of these games. So it makes you wonder, right? It definitely makes you wonder. And that's what's really on deck tonight. But it gets better. It gets a little bit deeper than that. So let's go to this. Let's go to this is from vigilanttcitizen.com. And this is actually this is fantastic because it's old. This is from 2010. But how mass media shapes and molds society. And this is exactly what we're talking about, right? So programming through mass media, straight from the article here. Mass media are media forms designed to reach the largest audience possible. They include television, movies, radio, newspapers, magazines, books, records, video games, and the internet. Many studies have been conducted in the past century to measure the effects of mass media on the population in order to discover the best techniques to influence it. From those studies emerged the science of communications, which is used in marketing, public relations, and politics. See? Mass communication is a necessary tool to ensure the functionality of a large democracy. It is also a necessary tool for a dictatorship. It all depends on its usage. And here we go. In the 1958 preface to A Brave New World, Aldous Huxley paints a rather grim portrait of society. He believes it is controlled by an impersonal force, a ruling elite which manipulates the population using various methods. Now, okay, right? And that's kind of my point. You see that video games are part of mass media. So, is it ignorant to think that all of mass media, or most of it, is working very hard in overdrive even to brainwash people, but they just leave video games out of it? I think that's the question, right? I think that's the question here. So I don't know. Like I said, as you get old, you start to get older, get a couple more gray hairs here or there, and they're like, oh, these old guys, they don't know anything about anything. And these are the conversations you have when you get old, right? But I don't know. I'd probably smack my forehead talking about this 15 years ago, but I'm not so sure now. Because, again, and I don't have any specific examples of video games where they use them to brainwash you to do particular things, especially violent activities for sure. But can we leave video games out of the equation when we're talking about mass media? Anyway, so here is the intro, the preface of A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Quote, impersonal forces over which we have almost no control seem to be pushing us all in the direction of the brave new worldian nightmare. And this impersonal pushing is being consciously accelerated by representatives of commercial and political organizations who have developed a number of new techniques for manipulating, in the interest of some minority, the thoughts and feelings of the masses. His bleak outlook is not a simple hypothesis or a paranoid delusion. It is a documented fact, says this article from Vigilant Citizen, present in the world's most important studies on mass media. And here's a list. There's a whole list of stuff here, right? The manufacture of consent. They have Carl Jung, of course, which Edward Bernays. We've got some folks here, right, where they're actually talking about these things and how the psychology of mass media actually turns this into a at least a conversation, right? And so when we look at these things and talk about this stuff, I don't know. I don't know. How deep does it go, I guess, is the question, right? I guess, again, back to the conspiracy angle of this. How deep does this go? Well, let's check this out. Check this out. This, you may not believe. Here we go. Here we go. This is from wearethemighty.com. Let's look at this article right here. Linking it as always, and you guys can follow along, and you can be part of the information as I drop it here. Like I said, as always, I like to list my sources here so you can actually kind of follow along and understand where the thought process came from. Now, this is brand new. This is from April 29th, 2020. All right, so this is within the last year, and this is from wearethemighty.com. The headline is this: How the U.S. military is using violent, chaotic, beautiful video games to train soldiers. I think that's the question, right? That's kind of what we're looking at. So if
that pops into their mind, this
autoplay. So okay, so if you can you have it both ways, I guess is the question, right? So they're saying, here we go. Violent video games have been embedded within American culture over the past several decades, and especially since 9/11. First-person shooters in particular have become increasingly popular. These games, in which players are positioned behind a gun, have turned a generation of kids into digital warriors who fight terrorists and battle alien invaders. Many play first-person shooters for pure, innocent enjoyment, some like achieving objectives and being part of a team, etc. And for others, it simply feels good to eliminate an enemy, especially someone who's trying to harm them, right? Which we've talked about on this, and yeah, it is, right? That's what it is. But really. All right, I'm going to mute you. If you're gonna just autoplay random willy-nilly, you get muted. All right, there you go. Take that video. Take that. All right, so here we go. But this continues. For the U.S. military, the rise of first-person shooters has been a welcome development. In recent years, the military has encouraged many of its soldiers to partake in the thrill of violent video games as a way to continue combat training, even when not on active duty. In fact, using games to teach military tactics has been a long-standing practice in the U.S. military. Before video games, troops were encouraged to play military-themed board games. Yes, right? So the games allow soldiers to take their combat roles home with them and blur their on-duty responsibilities with their off-duty, non-combat routines and lives. But what effect have those video games had on U.S. soldiers? How accurately do they depict military life? And do they actually help recruit, train, and retain troops? Right? So, okay, so which is it, right? So we were able to say pretty much with a certain amount of certainty, I guess, that there's no correlation between violence and video games. But then we have the United States military actually using first-person shooters as a tactical training type simulation. You see? So I mean, which is it, right? I mean, there's got to be a blurry line there, right? There's got to be a blurry line for sure. Definitely weird stuff. Definitely weird stuff with this, and I don't know. Again, this is not the answer show. This is the question show, and that's what we do. That's what we're talking about this. And so the military has actually developed video games to teach combat tactics, and not only that, they encourage active duty military to play these games when they're not on duty. Interesting, eh? I don't know. Like I said, it kind of dawned on me that there's a theme here of ever since the first-person shooters kind of came onto the scene back in the Doom days, if everybody remembers that video game Doom, Doom, that was one of the very first super popular first-person shooters. And the military has been using them to train soldiers since then. Interesting, right? You tell me. Looking to hear from you guys tonight. Again, like I said, I know it's a little bit kind of like old person milquetoast, but like I said, it's not quite as simple as that, I don't think. I think that if you dive into the way the mass media, every single bit of it, every engagement algorithm is set to brainwash us, right? Every single program, right? They call it a program for a reason, is set to brainwash us. Then are we able to, just because it's so ubiquitous and so, because everybody plays them, do you think video games are kind of outside of the brainwash cycle here? I guess that's the question. Love to hear from you guys, your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. And one more time, that's 702-957-1037. That's a Las Vegas area code where we're streaming from. And you can join the Discord. Troubledminds.org is the official website. Got the Discord link right on top and the phone number. What do you guys think? Again, right, like I said, a little bit of an old person conversation, right? The kind of this is a roll your eyes and call me a boomer type situation, which is, it's fine. You can call me whatever you want to call me. But like I said, is it as simple as that? If it's cut and dry and it's as simple as that, fine. But here we go. Let's play this clip one more time on what started this conversation tonight. Just for those of you just joining us tonight. So we are broadcasting on the Fringe FM. We're on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on DLive, and we're talking about video games and how in Chicago there was a 135% increase in carjacking, and so of course they have to do something about it. So they want to ban a very popular video game.
In just the last few days, 3 teens have been arrested for carjackings in Chicago. People have been saying for months now that teens are running around the city and carjacking people like it's a video game.
But now local lawmakers are doubling down on that idea, saying that video game should be banned.
Tia Ewing has more.
The carjacking suspects aren't even old enough to drive.
To survive, they have to set up and pull off a series of increasingly audacious heists.
Philanthropist Early Walker says violent video games like Grand Theft Auto could be influencing their young minds.
There are instances in the game where an individual pulls up to a car, bumps the car, taps the car, gets out, pulls the individual out of the car, carjacks the car, pulls off.
Walker met with Illinois State Representative Marcus Evans in January, and from there, legislation was drafted to amend a 2012 law preventing some games, including Grand Theft Auto, from being sold to children in Illinois.
House Bill 3531, which will ban these video games and send a message.
Different versions of Grand Theft Auto have been banned or censored in 5 different countries, but never in the United States. This past Friday, a former police officer was carjacked in his own driveway in the south suburbs. The car was later found in Harvey with the young suspect still in it.
They don't care. They feel they're going to get right back out, especially juveniles.
An expert told us the game can be the cause of violence, but it isn't the only factor.
Should it be banned? I think so. However, there's probably lots of reasons for theft and lots of reasons for violence.
Tia Ewing, Fox 32 News.
Yeah, right? I mean, but is it, right? So can you decouple the two, right? So the military says that they've used violent video games, right, first-person shooters in particular, to teach military style tactics, all right, which we've heard quite a lot with the January 6th incident. Everybody's talking about military style tactics, right? Pretty soon they're going to come after all the first-person shooter video games because of that, right? I think we still got fences up in the Capitol. Am I right about that? I think so. But you know what I'm saying, right? So it's just unbelievably stupid how all this is politicized and how they talk about these things. And again, right, like I said, with the, quote, pandemic out there. People actually suffering, and this is the garbage we're talking about. But anyway, for part of the show tonight, it's just kind of a thumb in our nose at the media and wondering how deep the brainwash goes. I think that's really the question tonight. And what do you think? Do you think has anybody out there played violent video games and it changed the way they started thinking, like the individual said in the clip there, the other clip, with the aggressive thinking, aggressive behavior, but not the uptick in violence? I think that's like I said, it just depends on how you word it, doesn't it? It just depends on how you word it. Geez. Okay. Anyway, so so now the military is using video games to not just train, right? And they've been doing that since the 90s, I think, early 90s, with Doom and those types of first-person shooters. But now it includes more than that. Now they're trying to recruit actual young soldiers as part of an esports type of circuit situation where they compete against each other. So let's listen to this clip. This is a little bit strange when you think about, okay, so we're recruiting youngsters with first-person shooters to join these military teams in the esports circuit.
Now a Fort Bragg soldier is about to get off work, go home, play some video games.
So why is this news, you might be asking? Well, the soldier is one of thousands attempting to get paid by the Army to play those video games. It's a story you'll only see right here on CBS 17.
Kayla Strayer joins us live from Fort Bragg. And Kayla, the Army is using this as a recruitment tool.
Yeah, that's right. So the Army's using esports as a way to reach out to the younger generation, kind of meet them where they're at during competitive gaming, and to show them that you can still keep up your hobbies while you serve your country. Sergeant David Blows repairs turbine engines for Army helicopters. It's a job that requires dedication, intense training, and teamwork. After work, Sergeant Blows takes the skills from his day job and applies it to his favorite hobby, playing Rainbow Six Siege. It's an online tactical shooter game. He spends about 5 hours a night playing this game, first with his wife Marta, then with fellow soldiers that he's training with in hopes of making the Army's esports team.
A lot of people thought it was a joke at first.
It's no joke. If he makes it, his job goes from fixing helicopters to playing video games for the Army.
Hopefully make it to the big stage playing against the Pro League games.
Critical comments like this one on Facebook say the program is a joke and that it's encouraging laziness in the military.
And I think that's all not true because I'm still doing my daily job. I still have to do PT, still have to meet all the standards.
Sergeant Blows is up by 5 a.m., works out in the morning and at lunch, staying combat ready at a moment's notice.
Anything, if orders right now came down for me to deploy, I still have to deploy.
The Army says they're using esports as a way to connect with youth and get them excited about future opportunities with the military.
It's a really good icebreaker to interact with the community.
If Blows makes the team, he'll travel with other soldiers to gaming competitions to show off their skills and answer questions.
So it really shows that we are normal people. We just do a job that is strenuous, but at the end, we still have time to do what we like.
Yeah, so he's going to know in the next few months if he makes that team. If he does, he'll be stationed at Fort Knox in Kentucky and travel to those different competitions and, yes, get paid to play video games. Reporting live at Fort Bragg, Kayla Strayer, CBS 17 News.
All right, so the Army has a team, an esports team, okay, where they're competing, right? And so clearly they're using it as a recruiting outfit to with these first-person shooters again, right? So again, can we have it both ways? Can we separate the two, where we're using one as a recruitment process and a training process for the actual active military, and in the same breath be able to say at the same time that playing these type of violent games doesn't change people's attitudes, behaviors, etc., so on. I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on the game, right? I guess it depends. But anyway, yeah, got lots of good comments out there. What do you guys think? I know tons and tons of people play video games. You are in the minority these days if you do not. And like I said, this is kind of like the milquetoast type of conversation, like you would hear on some garbage radio station somewhere out there. But it goes a little deeper than that. So not only are we trying to recruit youngsters with these first-person shooters and these esports Army teams, then we have folks that are actually saying that there's some sort of a change in people's behaviors, all right? Not necessarily violence, but to become more aggressive, all right? And it almost doesn't even matter between males and females. It just if they're playing these games, they become more aggressive. I don't know. What do you guys think? Again, like I said, I'm only one guy. I'm only just kind of trying to kickstart the conversation here and talk about these things and think about these things and wonder if there is a line between mass media brainwashing, and clearly television, clearly radio, clearly music, clearly Hollywood, right? Movies and music and the whole deal. But again, is it entirely possible that just because many people enjoy video games, and most people are gamers these days, that the video game platforms are left out of the brainwash? I think that's the question here, right? Yeah, there you go. Eli, I'm playing a game right now. The brainwash is deep. The brainwash. Yeah, I don't know. And that's the question, right? Love to hear from you guys tonight if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. And let's go to another article here. So got all kinds of stuff here where people are talking about these things. And so we have them using the esports to actually recruit soldiers, recruit army, recruit military, right? So let's see. Hold on. Here we go. This is it right here. This is an article from thenation.com, and this is where that clip came from, actually. Let me share this, and we will talk about this as we keep going here. But so this is from, again, thenation.com, and the headline is this: the U.S. military is using online gaming to recruit teens. Gamers with the Army, Navy, and Air Force are spending hours on Twitch with children as young as 13 years old. So, does that suddenly change the way you would look at this, right? If you can log on to Twitch, you can see what's going on with the actual active duty military playing these first-person shooter games and interacting with children as young as 13, they say. So then, right, we have a recruiting mechanism to bring youngsters to the military. Then, all right, so then, now are we crossing a line? How we're sort of glorifying violence through the military by using video games? Is that some sort of a brainwash technique as well? I think, again, like I said, it's weird that the more you just kind of keep scratching at this, the more it seems that there's something amiss here. There's something not quite right with this, and I don't know how I feel about it. Recruiting, youngsters, young children with first-person shooter video games on Twitch with actual military, active duty military recruiting through Twitch. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I don't have kids, so looking to hear from you guys tonight. If anybody has a problem with that, love to hear from you. Or if you don't, if you think it's totally cool and normal and fine, it's all good too. 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. And we're gonna just keep talking about this and looking to hear from you guys tonight and wondering about the brainwash cycle and what does this mean. And like I said, music, movies, radio, television, it's all one part of one big media conglomerate, right? But are video games completely exempt from that brainwash cycle, I guess is the question. Yeah. I don't know. Love to hear from you guys. This is we're still talking about this. Got another 30 minutes on Fringe here. 702-957-1037. One more time. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Hang tight. We will be right back.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, D-Live. We are broadcasting on the Fringe FM. And we're talking about mass media brainwashing. We always talk about the engagement algorithms on this show. We talk about radio and television, Hollywood and movies, this type of thing. But the question tonight is this. Do you think video games are exempt from that brainwash cycle? Or do you think we have a blind spot of sorts? That's what's up. We got a caller on the line. We're going to go to that post haste. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. One more time. 702-957-1037. What do you think about this? Everybody plays Call of Duty, right? Everybody plays or has played or been exposed to these games. Do you think it's dangerous? And again, some of this is tongue-in-cheek, of course, because, well, whatever. But some of it may be a little more nefarious as you dig a little deeper. So let's go to Jay in New York. What's up, Jay? Nope. Nope. We didn't do it. There we go. I got to press the button first. Jay, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic, as always. I played Call of Duty. I played Resident Evil. I played Zelda. I played Pac-Man. I played Pong. I'm old. Video games have been there forever. And, church and everything else like that. No, you shouldn't play video games like that. Later on in life when I had my own kid and everything else like that, he wanted to play Grand Theft Auto, and I was like, no. I remember when I bought the PlayStation, I filled out the little card in the packet on whether or not you wanted to be on the parent board, and they'd send you a CD with like 12 different games on it. And you get to play like one level of it, and you wrote a little report about it. And they'd let you pick the game that you wanted and give it to you for free. I picked Time Splitters because I like that game. Free game. You got a free game. But I look at it, and I'm picking up both sides of what you're putting down, though. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, that's a mature game on my little card there because step one was a liquor store or mug an old lady.
Exactly. And there's some...
Remember that? That was one, right?
Yeah.
That was one.
I remember.
Theft Auto 1.
And that's just beginning. That's not even getting into the dark stuff in that game. So I guess that's the question, right? So is there? Do you think that these games and the dark themes, the mature themes, that it's guidelines, right? It's like the PG guidelines or the this or mature or whatever it is, right? Whatever the goofy stuff they try and put labels on these things as guidelines for parents.
Yeah, but if you want to be the cool dad or your kid is whining, you get an A on all your tests and everything else like that, I'll buy you the Grand Theft Auto, man. Shut up.
Right. I mean, well, that's what I mean. What I mean is this, though.
Dad, the truck driver, or whatever, that drops off a video game because he doesn't think the kid, that's what the kid wants for Christmas.
Well, right, but again, right. So are there
trying to be cool?
So these darker themes, do you think that they are in some capacity kind of part of that brainwash? You know what I mean? It is dark, like you said. The very first thing you're like, oh, you're gonna mug the old lady? It's like, wait, what? That's the way it is. That's the way these games are.
No, I'm not. Well, then you got to rob a liquor store. No, I'm not. I'm done with games.
You're like, is there a third option, please? Yeah. No,
yeah.
I mean,
is there a way I could like sell newspapers or something, shine shoes?
Yeah,
right.
Right.
Get mugged.
Jay, we're getting old. We're getting old, my friend. No, okay, but right. But you see what I'm saying?
Exactly. We're getting old, but the thing is, though, it's everywhere. It's on TV. All these things that were acceptable and taboo. You just look at 50 years ago. Now it's accepted. We're doing it. It's everywhere. Every television show is fight, and guns and war and everything. Whatever happened to the kid playing a baseball game or something like that with his buddies and breaking a window, because that's the kind of stuff that really happens to kids.
Yeah, it exists.
You know how to use a pocket knife. Yeah, you're going to bend your finger open at some point with it. It's not like the video game where you just go get the health wrap package for, put it around there.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so
we're really teaching people that another try. You always get another try.
Yeah,
but the video games are the real violent and everything else like that. You don't get another try.
No, exactly.
You really don't.
But okay, so then in Chicago, the carjackings are up 135%, and they're equating this to Grand Theft Auto. What do you think about that?
In New York State, we have a bail reform law right now that's odd. And you get let go, like hours after you get picked up for that. There's no repercussions for any. My car got stolen out. These kids came into my garage. They broke into my garage. They took the keys to my car, the money and everything else like that. I called the police. The police came, took the report, everything else like that, did that, all this other stuff, and said, yeah, probably stupid high school kids. Yeah, probably was. They came back that night and stole the car to run drugs. They broke into my garage to steal the keys to my car, and then they came back like 10, 11 hours later and stole the car so they could go run drugs.
Okay,
I had the car back in 4 hours because that's all they did was go and ditch it. But the thing is, though, is I'm a Boy Scout leader. I know a whole bunch of kids in the high school and everything else like that because I have the opportunity to interact with them and learn their name and stuff. What's important to you, you know? You're a lacrosse player, you're in the theater, you know, that's whatever. Those kids were back in school the next day. They had to go to family court for what they did. There's no repercussions.
Yeah,
there's no consequence.
Yeah, I think. And
I spent $150,000 how to be a doctor, and I'm crappy out of it. I don't think I should need to have to pay my loan back. Well, file bankruptcy and put your big boy pants on. You know.
Yeah. Well, hold on though. Hold on. Wait. Hold on though. So let me ask you. So with all that, do you think that little crime spree that happened you described there, that it had anything to do with games or not? Or do you think like there's? I mean, to me, there's some factors worth talking about that are.
It probably put the seed in there. It probably put the seed in there.
You think?
Yeah, we can do this. You know, there's probably some older kids around saying, hey, you guys want to make some money? You need to take these 8 baggies of heroin over to Endicott. You need a car. You know, I'm sorry, I'm lying there. It was 6 baggies of heroin. They only found 5, and then the other one was tucked in the kid's car seat when I got the car back.
But you get what I'm saying, though. Like, it seems ridiculous to me. For instance, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's like this. To me, right? Just because I've played Grand Theft Auto and I've done terrible things in that game, right? Because that's what the game's about. You terrible things. So you really never once did I go, well, you know, instead of getting a ride, calling an Uber or something, or driving myself, I'm going to just go jack somebody's car. You know what I mean? Like, it's never occurred to me. Or like, oh, well, I really like that car.
Well, you're an adult when you played that game, though.
Well,
yeah,
that's
13
true.
Years old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. So do you think there's something to it? You think there's something to it?
What did you do when you were a kid? You're older than me or younger than me? I don't want to blurt it out on the. I don't care. I'm 48 years old, man. How old are you?
Younger. I'm younger than you. But that's all I want to say. Not by much.
So I mean, when you were a kid, what did you do when you were a kid? Were you riding your bicycle down to the video game arcade and playing the thing and playing Gauntlet and Pac-Man and Space Invaders and Pinball and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Or were you at home with your friends?
Yes, sir. My
playing
childhood.
On your home system. Somebody in the comments that put the thing about the buy-at-home thing killed the video game industry.
Yeah, well,
you know,
yes.
Because it really did. Because you go there and you actually interact with other real people while you were playing the video game.
Right.
My turn, dude. You died.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Get out of the way.
You suck at Mortal Kombat. This one dude's been on here for he's been playing all damn day long, man. You are not going to beat him.
Right.
You're going to give him your $1 worth to try to beat him, and he's going to kick your. I don't know if that one's allowed. That was crap, right?
You're good. Ass and craft. We're good.
Trying to be.
Right.
I'm trying to be conscious.
I appreciate it.
I know what you're trying to do, man.
It's okay.
I really
Look,
do. I know what you're
it's
trying
okay.
to do,
All right.
I don't want to be the guy that gets the beat button.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So look. Look. So do you think there's some sort of brainwash happening with these games? That's really the question here. Do you think that this is real, or do you think that's just like something politicians do to make a name for themselves, like the flat fellow said earlier?
After last year, the crap storm that they put down on us, it's got to be. There's no way it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if they were going back to the tinfoil hat guys that were putting the commercials. They're putting little somethings in the commercials on the TV. Absolutely they're doing in the video game. All those ones and zeros and how easy it would be to layer something on the screen. Back when you used to kill people in Resident Evil, you didn't get nothing. The guy died and he fell and he faded away. Now you watch the guy's brain splatter all over the building next to him.
Right there in the game. Exactly. Hey, so let me ask you then, while I got you on the phone.
The AI's learning from you too, all of it too.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you this then.
Everybody does it online.
So the military is streaming on Twitch and playing these first-person shooters, actual active duty military. And they're trying to recruit youngsters, as young as 13, they say. But, of course, we know if you're on Twitch, you have to be 13 years old or whatever for the terms of service. But there's, of course, younger people. That
unless your brother does it.
Yeah, right, exactly. There's younger people there. So how do you feel as a parent where the military has a Twitch account and they're trying to basically use it as a tool to recruit people into the military? Children, no less.
That's kind of messed up, man. Little kids don't need to think about stuff like that. You don't need to be teaching racism classes in kindergarten. Those kids don't have it in them. They don't know anything about it. They don't, it's not in their blood. The only time it's ever into their blood is when you start violent video games, Okay, they don't know anything about violence, 13-year-old kid who's watching cartoons and stuff like that goes over to his buddy's house and they're playing, Call of Duty 57 or whatever we're up to now. And you see some stuff that his mom and dad don't even let him watch those kind of movies, Yeah. But they're doing it downstairs in the basement because the parents aren't paying attention to what. When my kids have the tablets, I have two little kids. I have a 18-year-old boy who plays all of these video games, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And when they have any kind of technology and the wife is sitting with one and I'm sitting with the other and we're watching what they're watching. You should be playing games like Cut the Rope or Where's My Water, dumb problem-solving video games at that age. I mean, that's what you should, because, you look at the first Call of Duty, what was it there, World War II, and it took you like 87 tries to get onto the beach because you died instantly to try to prove what was actually going on in there. It was almost like it was a history lesson a little bit. But a toddler does not even need to watch you play that game. You know what I mean? There is age-appropriate stuff. Boy Scout leader, the kids that are coming up from Cub Scouts into the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, you look at them and some of them are out there playing Call of Duty and some of them are going to church every Sunday singing Yes, Jesus Loves Me, and then you have them interact with each other talking about that kind of stuff. And kids come up and goes, "What's rape?" And I'm like, somebody's got to come over here and hand that to me while I have this conversation with a 10-year-old. Help me.
I got
Do we
you.
have a lawyer on the staff here?
Yeah, I got you. Hey, Jay, we got to keep on moving here. We're gonna keep doing this. If you want to call back in the third hour, you're more than welcome. Okay, we got time taken here. So I appreciate the call, man. So you think that maybe there's something to it, and you think that it's possible. It's possible that this is part of the brainwash cycle, and it's built into video games, possibly, eh?
After 2020, it definitely is, man. They got like 75 pounds of tinfoil wrapped around my head right now.
All right.
The best thing we could possibly come up with ain't going to be nothing what they're going to throw at us next month.
Yeah, it could be.
Just like, come on.
Yeah, it could be.
Really?
I appreciate the call, Jay. You were the best, my friend. Got to keep on trucking. Let's finish the show up.
Good night.
Have a great night, man. Thanks for the call. God bless you and the family. There you go. You want to be part of the show, guys? We're talking about that whole video game bit. So not only that, we got some weirdo politician in Chicago saying that carjackings are up 135%. All right, and as a result of that, they want to ban Grand Theft Auto. Okay, and this is again perfect example of like the double think of like the weirdness of government and how these people just have no freaking idea what's really going on in the real world. And so, like all of us, many of us, I'm not going to say all of us, let's say most of us, have had access or exposure to a game like Grand Theft Auto, violent games, things like this. But again, right? Like, is this really worthy of a new policy to try and ban these type of games? It's a little bit ridiculous. So here we go. Let's go to this again. If you guys want to be a part of the show one more time, 702-957-1037. What do you think? Everybody plays games. Everybody plays games. And again, there's been people in the chat be like, this, if you think this, you're not very smart or all the rest of this. But that's, again, being able to entertain an idea without accepting it is the mark of an educated mind, right? Something like that is how the quote goes. But so is it, right? I think that's the thing. So we need to be able to just maybe entertain it and whether we accept it or believe it or not. But here we go. This is from Task and Purpose. And let me drop the links. I think I already dropped the links. Did I? Yes. Again, important. Yep, Task and Purpose. Okay, check this out. The history of video games and the military, all right? Today, some of the most popular video games involve military-inspired imagery and gameplay. The Juggernaut first-person series, shooter series, Call of Duty. Okay, clearly, we played this a lot. But now, let's see. Here we go. The U.S. military's first involvement with any type of electronic gaming was more of a happy accident than anything else. During the 1950s, Brookhaven National Laboratory had several early computers designed to crunch the numbers on a ballistic missile trajectories. In an attempt to garner interest from bored visitors to the lab, an enterprising physicist named William Higginbotham took one of those computers, hooked it up to an oscilloscope, and created a small physics-based game dubbed Tennis for Two. Though the game had no real involvement from any military organization, the computer technology pioneered by the Department of Defense in the wake of World War II played a crucial role in bringing the game to life. 30 years later, the military was getting directly involved. One of the first links between a commercial game company and a military agency occurred during the arcade game frenzy of the early 1980s. One of the more popular games at the time was Atari's Battlezone, a tank game with eerie green wireframe graphics. The Army Training Doctrine and Command, a.k.a. TRADOC, the Army Training Doctrine and Command, TRADOC, wanted Atari to turn its sci-fi shooter into a training simulator for the Army's latest infantry fighting vehicle, the M2 Bradley. 2 Army Battlezone prototypes were eventually produced, but no Bradley crewman ever trained on the system. Still, it was an early signifier of how the mainstream games industry and the military would collaborate in the future. And this goes back, right? This actually goes back to, again, to the very dawn of video games. And the actual, the military doing its thing. So I don't know. Like I said, this is not. I'm not convinced this is all this is the case, right? Just meaning that violent video games and have like a correlation to violent people. You know what I mean? I just don't think. I think there's way other too many other factors to really kind of make it such an easy answer. But as we know, politicians are into making easy answers. That's what they do, right? Like they try and make these really complicated subjects, which are super difficult to actually solve. Like, okay, if we know how to solve violence, then violence would be solved, right? Well, clearly, but we don't. So it's easier to kind of make like the binary straw man type of situation for the argument, make some crappy law about banning violent video games, and then bam, you did something, right? Again, like that's right there as part of the conspiracy of the Upside Down, and the history of the video games in the military is just a bonus to the conversation. just a bonus to the conversation. Got a couple more minutes left for you guys if you want to be part of the show tonight. We are going to be streaming for another hour on YouTube, Facebook, and DLive. We got about 3 to 5 minutes left on Fringe FM, and we're taking your calls if you want to be part of the show tonight. What do you think? this whole business with violent video games, and do you think it's part of the brainwash cycle? Like we talk about mass media all the time, music, movies, are games included? Are games included in part of that mass media brainwash? Or do you think it's overblown? And if that's the case, right, so is it possible to say that the mass media brainwashing for the other mediums, the engagement algorithms or the television or the radio or whatever it happens to be, do you think that is also overblown, right? So the question that makes me wonder, that kind of even makes it mildly interesting to me, this conversation, is that can you decouple the two? Can you really take video games out of the mass media brainwash equation? And that's really what we're talking about tonight. That's the deal here. I don't know. Again, I wish I had answers to these things. I don't know. I can see how using the military to recruit children is a clear propaganda through video games. So I think there's an obvious example. And again, going back to the 60s is with the article we just touched on is clearly the military's in with these types of training simulators, and I'm sure they've become incredibly efficient and important now to people commanding drones through like video game type joysticks from the Midwest, raining drones on the Middle East, from the Midwest with a joystick, just like a video game. So I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't have answers to these things. I do know that it's a little more complicated than all that, and that's just the way the world works, right? The world is a little more complicated than all that, and so it spawns a discussion. So we're going to keep talking about this stuff as we go, as we continue to do this. And if you want to be part of the show, one more time, 702-957-1037. One more hour on DLive, Facebook, YouTube, and as of right now, we're finishing up with The Fringe. The Fringe FM. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. Good stuff there. They were talking about remote viewing last night. Consciousness. That's the thing. That's Joe Roop's thing. You're into that? Stay tuned. Hang tight. Always a good topic, a good conversation. Lots of good guests on Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. As of right now, as we finish this up, I don't know. I don't have answers. This is not the answers show anyway, but I thought it was worth kind of thinking about in light of the bad politics. I guess that's really it. The bad politics. The upside down we live in. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Again, stay tuned on YouTube, DLive, and Facebook. We're going to keep on rolling here. Thank you for listening. Be sure, be strong, be true. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. About to get a little more social with the stream. It's talking about, gonna read some chat and say hi. Just kicking it. Here we go. Here we go. Let's do it. So how do I stop this music? Help! Help! How do I stop the music? Okay, like that. All right, so that's again that's the conversation tonight. I don't know. It seems like we have some mild reception to the topic, and like I said, I think it takes a little bit of a leap of faith when you think about these things because, like I said, the brainwash media is part of a media conglomerate, and so is it so easy to just detach one particular medium because many of us enjoy it, right? Many of us do it, talking about the games and the violence and the rest of this stuff that happens in these games. And so these politicians in Chicago have said that there's a correlation. A correlation. Let's play this clip one more time just to kind of, I know people come and go as we talk about this stuff. We'll play this clip one last time and that's it. But this is where it kind of spawned the idea for the show tonight. And I thought it was interesting and noteworthy and worth talking about, but it doesn't matter what I think, does it? It only matters what you think. And it seems to be a mild reception. So prove me wrong. 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and get your ass in here. Love to hear from you guys on what you think about this. And I know it seems like a basic stupid political conversation, but it's not. I think it's a little deeper than that. It's probably my fault for not really explaining exactly why I think. But anyway, it's okay. It's okay. I'm only human after all. Here we go. Let's play this clip, and this is exactly what we're talking about tonight.
In just the last few days, 3 teens have been arrested for carjackings in Chicago. People have been saying for months now that teens are running around the city and carjacking people like it's a video game.
But now local lawmakers are doubling down on that idea, saying that video game should be banned.
Tia Ewing has more.
The carjacking suspects aren't even old enough to drive.
To survive, they have to set up and pull off a series of increasingly audacious heists.
Philanthropist Early Walker says violent video games like Grand Theft Auto could be influencing their young minds.
There are instances in the game where an individual pulls up to a car, bumps the car, taps the car, gets out, pulls the individual out of the car, carjacks the car, pulls off.
Walker met with Illinois State Representative Marcus Evans in January, and from there, legislation was drafted to amend a 2012 law preventing some games, including Grand Theft Auto, from being sold to children in Illinois.
House Bill 3531, which will ban these video games and send a message.
Different versions of Grand Theft Auto have been banned or censored in 5 different countries, but never in the United States. This past Friday, a former police officer was carjacked in his own driveway in the south suburbs. The car was later found in Harvey with the young suspect still in it.
They don't care. They feel they're going to get right back out, especially juveniles.
An expert told us the game can be the cause of violence, but it isn't the only factor.
Should it be banned? I think so. However, there's probably lots of reasons for theft and lots of reasons for violence.
Tia Ewing, Fox 32 News.
Yeah, see, there you go. Bailey's. See, I needed to play it again. Like I said, I know people come and go. We started with that, played it at each hour, at the beginning of each hour, and it's true though. Like, so again, right? If you ban Grand Theft Auto, they've done it because they're looking to do it because the carjackings are up 135% in Chicago. So again, right, is the whole correlation, causation, the whole thing, right? I have a hard time believing that in the quote pandemic world that the real problem here is not the crappy government response to all this terrible stuff happening, right? Or like shutting down businesses and putting people out of work, or poverty on top of poverty on top of poverty, right? I have a really hard time believing that the fault of the violence is a video game. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Come on now. Let's be real about this. Let's be real about this. What's up? Let's see. Let's going back to the chat. Going to say hi. Be a little more social in the stream. Let's see. Bailey says they're going to ban GTA. What a load of shit. What a load of shit. That's okay. You're allowed to be late. Madib says more bad stuff in the Bible than video games. Just saying. Yeah, that's true. That's actually a good point. So I guess what's the question, right? Is it the violence in and of itself, or is it the fact that it's so ubiquitous in the mass media landscape? I guess that's probably a better way to frame the question. Quantum Vortex Energy, what's up? Thanks for showing up. Says, life exists all around us. We're visited all the time, and the civilian space program has found all kinds of things on the moon to indicate civilizations, previous, if not current. And yeah, you're in the right place with those kind of thoughts. Life is probably everywhere. It's just our reluctance and our hubris to admit it is what it is. What's up? Trippy Red says, I can't wait till 2025, the VR games. Yeah, right? So imagine when you have like an entire room dedicated to gaming. You have like a whole room just blocked off with like the weird green walls or whatever, the green screen type painted walls or whatever it happens to be, whatever the technology is, right? With the things hanging up in the corners of the room or whatever it is to detect what the actual VR space is you're playing in. Excuse me, and you end up doing whatever it is you're doing. I mean, it's going to become more and more, right? I think that's part of the problem here. Part of the just the shtick. The who knows what's going on with this? I don't know. VR is the next step. And imagine when you'll have like a battle rifle in your hands, okay, as a part of a like pull the trigger type situation, like literally like a military training holodeck loaded up in your house, right? You see what I'm saying here? So we got some good stuff. Again, reading the chat. I will catch up on the chat, guys. Promise. We're just now it's kick it time. We don't have any commercials or time limits, or we can even drop F-bombs if we want. We're in that portion of the show now. So okay, we got a phone call. We're going to take this. The show can finally begin because Joe from Florida is on the line. And I will catch up and read the chat. I looking to hear from you guys and what you think about all this, because again, right? I think you have to be able to, believe many things at the same time. The world is not a binary straw man argument, and there's nuance to this. So that's why we're talking about it. So let's go to Joe in Florida, and that means the show can now begin. How are you, my friend?
I'm okay. I just figured give a chance for somebody else to call in. I'm not much of a gamer. I used to be. But it sounds like to me a politician just pandering to an audience. And like you said, this happens every so often because we're looking for scapegoats. Well, Chicago's a poor example. I think of getting carjacked, if that's the case, we should have banned Tide Pods, but we didn't. But we saw what a generation of people did with Tide Pods. Starts at home, Do games have an influence? Maybe a little bit. Not as much of an influence as peer pressure. If a gang of kids are going to go rob, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go rob. Double standards. Well, should the military use it? I think the military has to use it. If recruiting has declined and the Army or the military always gets scapegoated, let's face it, we haven't been in too many popular conflicts lately. You would have to use any tools you have to keep the Army or the military recruited. My kid comes home, my nephew lives with us now, and my son, and they come home and they play games. They lock themselves in the room. I keep an eye on them to make sure that they're not talking or saying things that give me the sign of them being indoctrinated by anything. More than anything, I hear them talking to their friends because they're not able to go out and socialize. And now more than ever, whether we agree with GTA or not, I really don't think it would be a great time to be banning games. They've already banned enough socialization from us with the virus.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like it seems to be a cover, right? It seems to be a cover for some things that they're not able to actually handle. And we've talked about this ad nauseum for over a year now. We were the first ones talking about this. Yeah. With the government's going to just botch this entire thing and not really use it to help people, use it to take more control. And they've done all that. They've literally done all that. So yeah, I mean, it could be. It could just be, as politicians do, they look for blame. They look for other things that are everything else besides their own failings, and this is just probably another reason for that, which is just awful. And really. But there's some good points though, is there not? Like somebody said in the chat, hey, when I was a kid, we were bouncing a little ball off a wall, in the video game Pong. But then now they're they're robbing old ladies in liquor stores and running people over on the sidewalks and stuff like this, you know? So I don't know, right?
That's always happened. There's always been gang. There's always been gangbangers. You know, just because it resembles, there's always been carjackings. Let's say, you know, there's always been carjackings. Is it one or the other? What started it? You know, what I remember in the 80s, you know, Superman, some kid would decide to jump out of a window because he thought he could fly. You know, well, that's maybe Darwin. Maybe that's not video games. Maybe that's Darwin. You know, you could put a label on everything. And people being influenced. You know, are people easier influenced now? They are. How come? Because of the internet. And look, we're trying to control that too now. You know, and then the other thing is you can't tell people anything because everybody's offended. And I see this in my house. When everybody's right, everybody's wrong at some point. And you've got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful if you tell people to restrain themselves. You know, that's the society that we're living in. If they want to worship a video game, then that's their own stupidity. Before I forget, does anybody remember a game called Custard's Revenge or Custer's Revenge?
Nope, not at all.
It was on Atari. It was an old Atari cartridge game where you played General Custer and you had to dodge these arrows and you had to get to the Native American woman to copulate with her and make babies. It was a real game, and it's funny because I talked about that today at my job. Yeah, and they didn't ban that. It was kind of an illegal game, but you actually could get a game cartridge, and that was the game. You know, so the other thing is if we ban it, it's going to be bootlegged. And then the other thing is, what happens if this politician wants a handout from the makers of GTA to make it go away?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's a shakedown. It's a political shakedown.
Okay, because let's face it. I mean, my last name is Gambino, and I'm literally saying to myself, you know, the mob had more honor than the leaders of the world right now, and it turns my stomach. It turns my stomach the way, you know, they backpedal and launder and extort, because that's what that is. That's what that is. That game company probably makes more money than whatever that podunk politician from Chicago makes.
Oh, yeah. And not even close.
He's going to be kidding me. Well, you're going to be kidding me. Crime alone is rampant in Chicago. I could see if GTA, the company that makes GTA, came in and said, you know what? We're going to sponsor the police force, or we're going to sponsor this. We're going to be a good neighbor. You know, but they're a private company. That's not what they need to do. Again, it starts at home. It starts at home. Let me guess, and you know, this is going to be a stereotype. I wonder what the majority of the people are that are doing the carjackings. How are people raised? What neighborhoods? Poverty. Priorities.
Yeah, like I was saying.
It's just another excuse of us not. It's just another excuse of us not taking responsibility for our own actions and for our children's actions.
Yeah, for our failures of taking care of our children, right? Yeah, and it is what it is. And like I said, unfortunately, they're not easy answers to these things. But to blame video games, I mean, it's like, but again, right? Think of the upside down, back to the algorithms, right? And so how literally the brainwash media, the division media, like literally, it's fine for us to literally just call each other Nazis all day, every day, right? And that's fine. It's cool. It's fine. But then like. You got this video game stuff and it's not. It's just unbelievably stupid to me. That the obvious
you lay open the inconsistency and the hypocrisy of it. I mean, of the media. So we're all considering all of this media, electronic warfare, electronic entertainment, whatever it's being used for. Yes, you are laying open the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but again, right, follow the money, and you may be right. Maybe that's just a shakedown. Maybe they're like F these guys, we're going to threaten them, we're going to get paid off. Like they're going to, basically Rockstar Games would like make a little super PAC or something or other, and then, fund their campaign, and then they leave them alone, Maybe you're right.
Well, maybe they should put the politician in the game and let him get carjacked.
or worse. Or worse. In a video game.
On a side note.
In a video game for the algorithms that are listening.
On the video game, put that guy's face on the cover and make him the target.
There you go.
But on a side note, did you see, I think it was an ABC News, or you probably heard about it already, but that American Airlines pilot that radioed in that a cylinder flew right over the plane?
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear about that
the
today?
UFO, right? There was a UFO, right?
Well, the pilot said it looked like a cruise vessel, but he said it was a cylinder, and it was not on radar or anything. It was a UFO. It was they said it was a cylinder-shaped UFO that went right over the airplane.
Yeah, I did see that.
And it was on ABC. It was on a major news channel tonight, and I just kept saying, well, that's more disclosure. That's more, and they didn't make fun of it. Like you look at local news reports, and you look that up, and the news reporters kind of make fun of the reporter that's seen stuff, and they kind of tease jokes. I mean, it was an ABC World News, take it or leave it, Republican, whatever it is, but they just basically had a 1-minute piece, and it just said that pilot was flying a jet, and, a cylinder flew over the plane. It didn't say that the cylinder had a donkey or an elephant on it, or any party identification. Didn't say anything about that. It just said that a cylinder flew right over the plane. That's plain as I can be.
Yeah, so I don't know if you follow Twitter at all. They were talking about it on UFO Twitter, that whole little group of people. And Mick West, the debunker in chief of UFO Twitter, was trying to say that it was not a cruise missile at all. It was a particular airplane, and he has pictures of the two next to each other. Anyway, I mean, as always, all the theories are coming out of the woodwork, and people are talking about that. But yeah, so I haven't actually looked into it myself. I just roll my eyes as like the people start flinging poo at each other, as always, right? Some people are screaming aliens, and some people are screaming like, nope, it's just an airplane, guys. It's standard. So standard. Here we go. Division media, baby.
Exactly. Anyway, that's a million other things. I mean, you could ban music, you could ban lyrics, and the more interconnected we are, the tougher it is to ban it. Because, you're going to get bootlegs. If you want it, you're going to get it. Nobody's going to play a video game that's boring. Let's face it. Nobody's going to play a game that's boring. So that's just the way it goes. I mean, myself, I like flight simulators. When they first came out with first-person shooters, I played them a little bit. I never had an interest in them because to me they were repetitive. They were very repetitive. Go shoot, go shoot, go shoot. I kind of liked simulations, of like Battlezone or F-15 Eagle, Flight Simulator, all those games I enjoyed. Always have. Now as I'm older, I just don't have time for it. And then, they're so time intensive. Halo, all those games are so time intensive. I can't sit there till I finish a game. So
yeah,
that's all. I mean, my we don't even have. I think I got a PlayStation 2 in this house. The kids have Switches, and my son's 15. He's saving money so he can build his own gaming computer. And I might do that if we have the time, but we're just always busy. My daughter's got a Switch. She's 9 years old. She doesn't have any interest. She plays a little bit, and that's it. She wants to be outside.
Yeah, perfect. So. I think that's probably better off. If you're looking for a hot game, man, it's still in alpha. It's been in development since like 2013, but Star Citizen is amazing. That's a sweet game. It's a sweet game. Talk about immersion.
That might be fun.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That might be fun. I remember Elite Commander, and I'd like to get the new one, but I got to get a computer that's fast enough to play Elite. I will let you guys go. I've got to get up for work, but thank you for your time and and coming up with show ideas every night. I know it's going to be tough. So.
Yes, sir. Well, it was a little better with Ash, and then we had no Ash, so it was like, okay, well, shit, now what? So it's okay. It's all right. We're allowed to lay an egg once in a while. Joe, you're the best. Thank you for calling. Thanks for listening. You are the best, my friend. God bless you and the family. Okay?
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
There you go. You guys want to be part of the show? There was Joe. The show can now begin. Joe called, and now we're starting. Now we can begin. Do you want to be part of the show? What are your thoughts on this? Again, like I said, I know it's a little bit kind of milquetoast, just the conversation really, and it's not. It wasn't intentional in that manner, but just kind of looking at the hypocrisy of what the politicians are up to. Right? Is there clearly there's no correlation between violence and video games, right? There's no direct correlation. Here we go. There's some people that disagree, though. Let's a couple more clips to kind of round this out and talk about this. Still would rather talk to you guys if you want to be part of the show. I'm going to put up the phone number one more time, 702-957-1037, talking about video games and violence and about the hypocrisy of a brainwash mass media, where somehow we are expected to believe that radio, television, movies, music, all of it, right? All of that is all brainwash. But then for some reason, we give video games a pass, even though the video game companies in large part are working in tandem or part of these same media conglomerates, right? So anyway, just kind of like I said, I don't know the answers here. You know me. I'm not trying to convince anybody of this. I just think it's something to think about as we kind of begin to move into those bizarre VR type situations, where you start to have your own, instead of a PlayStation or Xbox or gaming PC, you have like an entire, kind of holodeck room in your home for VR games and whatnot. So, and then imagine when your entire home becomes like a VR holodeck. Oh boy, that's probably what we should have done tonight, but it's okay. All right, let's go. Here's some people talking about violence and video games, and they're trying to make the case that it exists.
Politicians often blame video games for some of the violence in our world, and while it is true that the top 5 most popular video games right now are all shooter games, do the guns on screen really translate into aggression in real life? Can video games make you violent? One of the main arguments people make against video games is that they prime kids to be violent. Priming is a non-conscious form of memory where one stimulus influences the response to a subsequent stimulus. For example, if I said the word yellow, then asked you to name a fruit, you would most likely say banana. This led to a study in which researchers had participants play one of 2 games. One game where they were in a car avoiding collisions, another where they were just a mouse avoiding a cat. Following the game, the researchers, based on priming, hypothesized the players would be faster at categorizing objects associated with the game they played more quickly in the real world. So the players looked at pictures of things like a bus or a dog and were asked to quickly label them either as a vehicle or an animal. Those who played the car game were no faster at categorizing vehicles, and those who played the cat game were no faster at categorizing animals. In fact, those who played each game had a slower reaction time to the related category, meaning negative priming might actually be occurring. Oh, science, you're always just messing with us, aren't ya? But unlike the 8-bit games of our past, today's game designers are capable of producing incredible graphics. Therefore, another criticism is the more realistic a game, the more likely it will activate aggressive behavior.
Okay, the more realistic a game, the more likely it will activate aggressive behavior. And again, right, so we have more and more hyper-realistic games, that hyper-reality type situation that we're talking about on this show quite often, where in that world of mass media, where it's all those things, right? It's the music, it's the movies, it's the radio, the television, whatever it is. They're all manipulation, right? In some way, it's shaping culture. And then in that shaping culture and shaping our brains to be exactly how they want us to be, we find ourselves in this weird spot, like I said, with video games. I'm fond of video games. I don't have time for them anymore. Before this show, I used to play a lot of video games. I don't anymore because I'm mostly doing this show instead, right? But there's some sweet, fun, like entertaining, engaging video games. They exist. They're good, and I think even some of the violent ones. I still play Warzone, Call of Duty now and then, and it's people parachuting into like a murder simulation, basically. So everybody parachutes in and tries to kill each other, right? But exactly, what's up? Eli says, I don't get aggressive. Yeah, it's the same for me. I don't either. I just don't get aggressive with video games. It doesn't make me want to go out and kick my neighbor's ass. You know what I'm saying? After a sweet Warzone Call of Duty win, I'm like, yeah, let's go kick the neighbor's ass. No, it doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen that way. But But in some capacity, right, like I said, we have to be able to consider these things even if we don't believe them true. Because, of course, as the media landscape changes and the technology changes, what may not be true today may be true in the future. You see. So anyway, I think this is probably not one we'll talk about often, but I think it's definitely something we should keep on the top of our mind because you don't know. With 5G, we got China and the United States like talking up 6G, like they're talking about the 6G type of technology already. Like 5G, like whatevs. Nobody cares anymore, right? Only the tinfoil hatters give a shit. But like they're talking 6G now, and so this is what I'm saying. Like the mass media is always looking to the future, and so if we're not also looking to the future, even with old ideas, then they're gonna run away with it. They're gonna run away with it and be able to do what they do and get away with things. So anyway, all right, let's talk. Let's read the chat. Still looking to hear from you guys. Got one more clip to play from that individual. Actually, let's just play that and then we'll finish this up. So this is the individual talking about how video games are able to somehow change people's minds through violence in the game or whatever else. Anyway, go part 2, and then looking to hear from you guys. And it's there you go. Phone number is 702-957-1037. One more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. Hop in here and let me know what you think. Love to hear from you guys tonight. And let's go. Action part 2.
To study this concept, one study had participants play one of 2 combat games. One where the characters were modeled using ragdoll physics, movements modeled off of the human skeleton, which means they had very physically realistic death behaviors. The other game used deaths that were extremely unrealistic. Afterwards, aggression was assessed via a word association test, and the game with the more realistic deaths showed no increase in aggression. Of the available research, most find no link between video games and violence. A meta-analysis of studies showing a positive link between games and aggression found that they often used ineffective lab tests of aggression, for example, measuring brain waves and heartbeats, which doesn't necessarily translate to actual criminal behavior. And in the past, when a correlation has been found, it's been weak. Criminologists who study mass homicides refer to the link between violent games and crime as a myth. In fact, in 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that research did not find a clear connection between violent video games and aggressive behavior. Unfortunately, we all know how often after a crime, video games and violent media get brought into the conversation. But the truth is, this might actually be distracting from the more significant causes of violence.
Yeah, right? All right. So I think that's the thing. Now this is bizarre, right? So let's go to so the Supreme Court ruled that there was no actual scientific correlation between violent video games and violent behavior, all right? So, and that's based on the science, right? We've heard a lot the last year about science, about follow the science, right? We've heard a lot about this. But how come when the science suggests something, the politicians don't give a shit? They do what they want to do, right? And then they gaslight you with the but science. Well, wait, though. If the Supreme Court ruled there's no correlation between video games and violence, how come in Chicago this knucklehead politician is trying to ban Grand Theft Auto? Because they've had a 135% increase in carjackings. What about the science? Where's my Fauci clip when I need it? But the science, guys, the science. You know what I'm saying? 702-957-1037. Bailey dropped a hilarious word in the chat. It's because, Eli, it's because you're desensitized. That's why you don't get aggressive. You've come to expect violence as a normal state of affairs in life. Oh, geez. Desensitized. All right. Let's go. We got this is Beechwood again, and no problem at all, because this is one of those conversations nobody wants to talk about, for crying out loud. Sometimes we got 10 calls a night. Sometimes we got 2. What's up, guys? I'm talking to you. I'm gaslighting you. I'm shaming you. I'm call shaming you. It's okay. I understand. Oh, we got another one. Look, we got calls stacking up. That's all you got to do. Just call shame people, and they call back. Here we go. All right. What's up? Beechwood, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Oh, what's up, man? I'm loving the show. I'm just chilling out. I'm in my basement. But what I forgot to mention, because I when I called earlier, I called to talk about conditioning, okay? Now, these video game companies, there has to be something behind the scenes, with the amount of money that's involved with them. But what they're conditioning you to do is to sit in one place and pay for it. And that's what they're conditioning you to do. They're not conditioning you for violence. And the point I forgot to bring up.
Interesting.
No, yeah, the important point I forgot to bring up, man, is I've actually seen people die in real life, and it changes you when it happens. It's not real. It's not make believe. It's fucking it changes your mind completely. And I can play a video game all day long. I can see a million, digital guys get their heads blown off. But if you see that in real life, it changes you. And it's human nature. It's just in us. And I noticed there's I don't know if there's people out there who've heard of like gore websites, and they show videos of like real people, dying, drug cartels cutting people's heads off. And
I don't remember.
Watch that stuff, man.
I don't know how old you are, Beecher, but back in the 80s, man, they had that thing. Joe talked about it at several shows back. Faces of Death. Remember that?
Yeah, dude, Faces of Death. They used to tell us about that like it was a myth. And then I remember someone's uncle had it, and we watched it. And our friend Steve passed out. Like that's what happens when you really see that shit.
Yeah, no, exactly. When it's real. I understand there's a lot of real sickness in the world, and so I don't seek that out. I don't like to watch those things. And I know some people need it because they don't realize the sickness that exists out there. But this is a sick world, man.
It's not pleasurable.
It's not. It is not.
And what video games do, though, is many of the video games now, like, they give you the underdog feeling. And a lot of times, like Call of Duty, I believe, I don't play it, but I think you can play whatever you want, but they kind of make you seem like you're an American and you're fighting evil. Like, they make it feel like you're doing the right thing. And it's different than, like if they made a video game, if the character was Adolf Hitler, they wouldn't let you do it. They'd be like, that's fucking crazy and they just make it seem like, the question I had about video games in foreign countries, like, do they have video games where they kill Americans? Like if I'm sitting in, wherever, like I'm sitting in France, we go invade America, would that be right?
Or
that's
like
human.
Yeah, or like Call of Duty, you like parachute in and you kill Americans or something. Yeah.
So that would be wrong because we're American. But what they want you to do with the video games is they want you to sit there. They want you to give them money. They have you in one place. As far as the military stuff, man, they may be recruiting, talented people. And I remember we were talking about Space Force on another show. And that could be, what Space Force is about. Maybe in the future, everything might be drones. And some of these video game players are actually very talented, not hand-eye coordination, but like eye-thumb coordination, I guess they would call it. But I don't think they're promoting violence for you I think it's a different type of conditioning. And that's what I forgot to mention the last time I called, because I like video games. I like the outdoors better myself. But, if I'm going to play a game, it's going to be a first-person shooter game.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's fun as hell. I mean, like Joe Roop actually on Lighting the Void on Fringe FM. If you guys listen to him, he's pretty good stuff over there on that show. He was saying that recently he started playing. What's that game? It's not Call of Duty. It's the other one. Fortnite. He was playing Fortnite with his son. His son's a young teenager, and he was playing Fortnite with him. And he's like, "Yeah, I started playing this game. I was like, whatever, right?" And then I won. He's like, "We won a match." And then I was hooked, man. It was like this adrenaline rush, and I was like, "Yeah!"
It is. Yeah, it's. I have a friend with 5 kids, and they love the Fortnite. I don't get it. I watch them. You get even the graphics aren't that good to me. It looks fake, but they love it. But But yeah, that was just what I forgot to mention. I know a lot of people didn't call into the show. It's kind of a dead night, but
it's a dud, bro. It's
I think
a dud.
It's a great topic.
I
Totally
it's
great
interesting.
topic.
It's interesting. It's okay. Like this is the thing, right? When you've done hundreds of shows, it's okay to have a kind of a down show. It's fine. It happens, man. My feelings aren't hurt. I'm glad you're interested because, again, I don't talk about things unless I'm interested in them, and that's part of the problem, right? And sometimes what I'm interested in, other people aren't, and that's okay, right? Because we always have tomorrow, right? So it's all good. It's all good. But I appreciate
absolutely.
I appreciate your calls tonight. Now look,
I got
yeah, go ahead.
I said I got a couple of buddies that I gave them. I sent them the show. You know, a couple of weirdos like me. So
nice.
I'm trying to get one of them to call in, but
nice.
You know, I enjoy listening to it. It's I do stuff around the house. It's better than sitting in front of the mainstream media.
Yeah,
right. I'm still getting stuff done. I'd rather listen to real people.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing that like actually enamored me with like the radio format is because you can do something, you know? Like I'm like, all right, look, I'm gonna go wash the dishes or whatever, right? But I'm like, I'm gonna turn on something and listen to it, you know? So I'm enjoying myself as I'm washing the damn dishes, you know what I mean? So it's like you can do two things at once, and this format allows that in many ways. Like Eli said, Eli says I'm playing a video game right now, like listening to you guys, you know? It's good. Like this is a good thing. This format is amazing, and you know, and again, look, able to meet good people like this and have good conversations, it's invaluable to me. It's literally one of those things that if they ever take this away, if they ever drop the audio format and just like come after it hard, well, we got a big problem. We got a big problem on our hands.
They'll try. A future show, we'll have to talk about the human language now, like memes, communication. Like
yeah, definitely.
We speak less and less. We used to speak in Old English and all smart. Now we speak American, and now we just speak almost grunts, and a couple of letters.
Poop emojis and like the thumbs up. That's the language now.
That's all you need. That's all you need in life.
Poop emojis.
Get you through.
It's true. It's true. It's totally true. Okay, look, now I want to point out real quick, your point about the conditioning, I think you may be right, is that maybe it's not the violence, right? It's not the desensitizing people. You're right with the World Economic Forum, right? And the Great Reset, they're conditioning us to sit in one place and pay for the privilege. I think that's a fantastic take, man.
That's the one thing I can like vouch for 100% is conditioning. And most people don't realize that it's being done. You have free will to do whatever you want. And we live in a society, we have the laws of man and there's the laws of nature. And they're two completely different things. And there's no moral overforce that comes down and you know, governs that. It's in our hands, and that can be manipulated. And people forget that. There's nothing wrong with being free and having your own opinion.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what I like about the show.
You're allowed to be you, man. Non-denominational, apolitical as possible. We're just talking about the world we live in, my man. You're the best, Beechwood. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it. Fantastic point about conditioning us to sit in one place and pay for the privilege. That's an amazing point.
All right, man. Yeah, awesome. And I'll probably be. I gotta get up early tomorrow. I'm a prep guy for painting, so nice. I have to be there before everybody paints.
Nice. I'm with you.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Some people
okay, sounds good. I look forward to it, my friend. I appreciate your calls. Thank you so much for being engaged and wanting to have the conversation with us. It does mean a lot.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. I'll be tuning in and I'll be keeping it strange out here.
Right on. Appreciate it, my friend. There you go. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts. Is that from Massachusetts? Could you tell from his Boston accent? Massachusetts. Beechwood. Definitely good stuff, guys. Look at all the amazing people we've met on this show. Again, like I said, I'm thrilled. Let's go to the next one. What's up, Jay? You're back. How you doing, buddy? I appreciate you guys calling back because I prefer having conversations with you guys, right? I just do. Like I could lecture and play some clips and do some shit and this and that and the other thing, but it's I think it's a little more boring. Welcome back to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. Well, no, fantastic, because we have to have a positive attitude now.
Amen, bro.
yeah, Beechwood and Joe, I mean, you know, those guys are making good points. And it's like we're sitting down, we're having an intelligent conversation when we're not allowed to do that. And the whole thing, you know, you worried about, you know, them taking the audio away from you. You know, video games. Yeah, sure. It probably does help out a little bit with how we react with violence, the same way that the TV does and the movies and all of it. But we're headed down a slippery slope, Mike. I mean, we really are. You know, the reason why there's, you know, a bazillion carjackings in Chicago is because of Grand Theft Auto. No, it's not. It's because those kids know they're going to be out tomorrow afternoon and headed to family court or whatever, and it's no big deal because they still got to go to school. It's just,
well, school's
really
not even in.
What we accept.
School's not even in. Yeah, and again, this is part of the problem, right? So, this is part of the point of tonight that I was trying to make. It's like, hold on, like there's an unbelievable amount of problems that government has like just botched unbelievably poorly, badly, in awful ways over the past year plus. Like there's this, you know, quote, pandemic going on still. They're still destroying businesses in California.
20 years
in California, dude, in California right now. Well, no, you're right. So of course, the political botchery of society has been going on for a very long time. But I'm just talking about in the COVID land, right? In the land of COVID, like, really, these people are bringing up video games. Like, fuck off. Video games are right now is one of the things keeping people sane. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Like,
exactly. You got something to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's sick.
Even if you're playing frickin' Farmville back in the beginning of Facebook.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember that.
So you could meet other people and talk to somebody else, you know? And that was all via chat.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yep.
You're not even allowed to go to a bar or church or a frickin' baseball game, you know?
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
miss
to keep
baseball
my language
games.
good with you, Mike, so I can talk to you when you're on the FM.
You're good, man. You guys are good. Idea. Look, you guys have actually been fantastic. Like since that first time, the first like 3, 4, 5 shows we did on Fringe, nobody's dropped an F-bomb. I'm probably going to jinx it, but you guys have all been great. You guys have all been great, so it's okay. I appreciate it. I just want to make it very clear: we're not syndicated yet, okay? But what happens is once you end up there, the FCC basically will find the stations that have us, and I don't have like a mute button, so I will rely on you guys to not drop F-bombs. I appreciate that a lot. But okay, all right.
Well, I'll do my best in the third hour too.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. Totally
for practice purposes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was talking to Ash about it. He's like, damn. He's like, I think I just need to stop swearing entirely because he's like, I just can't. You know, he's like, I can't like turn it on, turn it off. It's like a habit thing. I have to stop the habit.
We're getting canceled.
well, I mean,
you can't say things like that anymore.
Well,
no, I mean, no, it's part of the censorship. You can't say that out loud on the internet anymore because we made that part of the FCC now.
Well, exactly.
If you say that, we can ban you. We can take it. We'll put the Q on your label.
Right, exactly.
You know.
Now you've done it. Now you screwed us.
I did it.
Now you did it.
I did it.
No, look, this is the thing. Hey, if you guys want to help out with that label, that 17th letter label, go to those YouTube videos, and there's a little. It's like a fact check, right? If you click on like the little exclamation point, you can report it as an error.
Oh, I always report. Yeah, I do.
Please do.
I've been. I don't know if you notice or not. If that's something that you see, but I make sure that I go back, even if I don't listen to the show. You know how you have the little clip on the top.
Yeah,
it tells you what the show's about.
Yep.
If it's not something that really fancies me or something like that, I like you anyway. And then the little Q label I report.
There you go. I appreciate it.
I do that on all of them.
I appreciate it.
You want to play that game? I know a guy who's got a radio show, and we're all going to play that game right now.
Amen, bro.
No.
Amen, bro. Amen, bro. Jay, I got a call right behind you. I got a call behind you. Let's finish this up. Final thought.
I'll let him go.
Let's finish the show.
Yeah. Just let's try to keep doing what we're doing and talking to each other, because it'd be a lot more fun if, Joe and Ash and all of us could sit down together and have a beer sometime.
Amen, bro.
Watch a baseball game.
At some point, we're going to get some kind of conference together, some kind of troubled minds situation going on. So I live in Vegas, so that's a fantastic place to do
it looks like we're so far away from that, it's like,
I don't think so.
We're allowed to have 250 people at a party in New York now.
I don't think so. I think it's one of those situations where they want us to believe that's the case. I think it's closer than that. Jay, you're the best. I appreciate the calls, my man. You have a fantastic night. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. I'm going to catch you back and listen to the end of the show until you roll the credits, buddy.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. There you go. Let's go to the next phone call. And it says, the auto screen says Bill from Kentucky. Is that correct?
Hey, how you doing, bud?
Bill from Kentucky. Hey, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike. I'm fantastic, my man. How are you?
Hey, doing good. I love this topic. It hits really close to home.
Nice. So what do you think then? What do you think about all this?
Personally, I don't think you can narrow it down to video games leading to violence. Our society as a whole, if you take into account movies, music, video games, commercials, is just a huge desensitizing movement to where the things that happen just don't shock us anymore. So, nothing really affects people the way it used to. Sexuality has changed from marketing and commercials and music. People's minds have changed from movies and video games.
And so, like I said, interestingly, right? It's weird how in that mass media we somehow give video games a pass, right? Like we want to blame the movies, the music, and everything else, but video games get a pass. And like I said, I don't know, like I don't have the answers here, but I think it's definitely worth keeping on the top of our minds, because as this technology does change, we're the ones who are the smart people. We are the ones who are trying to see the future before the future happens. So I think right. Completely discounting that it's video games could be a negative influence in some capacity, like again, like it's not simple, cut and dry, but to completely give games themselves a pass, I think is a little bit short-sighted, let's say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been a gamer my whole life. All three of my kids are gamers. My wife's a gamer. And it's just, we're not violent people, It affects everyone differently, but it's all part of, and put on your tinfoil hat for me, this is video games, movies, music, even the way they're doing books these days. I think it is all about just dumbing down society, getting us into a state of non-critical thought, so we are that much easier to control.
Yeah, I agree. And again, right? There's a lot to it. It's not as simple as just, well, it is happening or it's not happening, right? There's like we talk about it all the time on this show, and there's so many ways it's happening to us. And you're right. Mm-hmm. It's here we are again, like it feels like it almost feels like Radio Free Europe, right? It like this is Radio Free America. You know what I mean? It kind of feels that way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we're kind of like whispering in these dark corners about things we're not allowed to talk about as we're trying to dodge like the Matrix style algorithms. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Weird. Yeah. We need a antivirus to protect us, anti-malware.
Exactly, like from our words and our thoughts. It's just bizarre, man.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing that we live in is just weird. And again, I understand that the video games kind of doesn't ring true to a lot of people. And myself, I give it a pass also, but I just don't think we should be so quick to allow it to be just fine. It's fine to just in the video game rob an old lady or rob the liquor store, or like the prostitutes and beat them in the alley and run people over on the sidewalk, and I don't know, man. Like, I think in some case, right, we talk about consciousness, right? And so, like,
as
even
parents and gamers, we need to follow the enforcements. You know, if it says a certain age or a certain restriction, we have to take that into consideration. You know, I hate censorship, but there's a reason they put it there.
Well, there's a reason for the people in power that they put it there, because they don't want us thinking together. They don't want us quote conspiring, right, against them.
Yeah,
but
let's not use that word. YouTube will get mad at you.
Exactly. But that just means thinking for ourselves is what it means. Yeah, crazy. So you're a gamer. You've been a gamer all your life. So you think there's some merit to the conversation, though, that maybe we should be a little more cognizant of what's happening in the future. Is that what you're saying here?
Oh, yeah, 100%. The way we're going with I love violent video games. I won't deny it. But the way we're going, once we get into virtual reality and the whole Neuralink, it's over.
Yeah, they had what Elon Musk had was it a monkey playing a video game recently?
Yeah,
something
playing video games. Yeah.
So
remote controlling a pig. That's
yeah. So once
we're headed down. We're going to be batteries here soon.
We're going to be in the Matrix itself. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Hey, while I got you on the phone, what kind of things are you interested in for future upcoming shows? Love to hear from you guys on what you want to hear about and what you want to talk about.
Oh, God, man, you have so many good ones. I really... Oh, man, don't put me on the spot like that. I'm not ready for that question.
That's all right. That's okay. That's part of what I do. Like the hard part for me is deciding on what to talk about. Like that, you know, the easy part is getting the information together and talking about it. But yeah, every day coming out with something new, you know, just a new idea to talk about. It's hard. That's the hard part. So if I get, this goes out to everybody out there listening. If I can get some input on shows you want to hear in the future, it helps me a ton because I can just go, cool, yep, we're doing that. And then we'll do that, you know. That does help a lot. So just maybe if
you've been doing a hell of a job this far. So
I appreciate it, man.
We have faith in you.
I appreciate that. I do too. Like I said, my ego's as big as the sun. Man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And I love the community. Everybody be good.
There you go. Bill from Kentucky, you are the best, my friend. Thank you for calling. I appreciate the input tonight, and thanks for being interested in a topic nobody's interested in.
Thank you. Take it easy, brother.
Have a good night, my friend. You too. There you go, guys. There you go. Look at all the smart people interested in the conversation as the conversation happens. As you know, this is one big conversation. This is not just piecemeal of we're talking about this, we're talking about that. This conversation is the entire conversation. Always consciousness, always censorship, always talking about all of these things, right? The paranormal, the aliens, the latest news on all that. That's what we're doing here. And sometimes, well, you lay an egg. I'm going to call tonight laying an egg, but it's all right. I had a good time, and I had fun thinking about it. And I think the point that I think made the most sense to me, that I wish I started with, is that Beechwood said we're being not conditioned for violence with these games. We're being conditioned to pay for the privilege to sit in one spot. Think about that. Think about that. Oh my goodness. Let's go to the chat and finish this up. If you guys, we got few extra minutes for you guys. If you want to be part of the show, I will not turn you down if you call 702-957-1037. Join the Discord. Troubledminds.org is the official website. Let's read some of the chat. Let's go to the chat here. And we'll finish this up. Thanks for the calls tonight. Thanks for being interested. What's up, Mike? I see you on Facebook. What's up? I used to be a skater. Then I played skate and skate 2. Now I'm fat. There you go. Right. So you used to actually skate. Now you play video game skate. Derek says censorship is getting so bad we have to use smoke signals again. It's almost that bad, right? Definitely. Let's see. The word you're looking for is more natural, says Brian. Yes. Derek never swears. No problem. That's okay. An F-bomb here or there for emphasis sometimes gets people's attention. And yeah, sometimes you gotta do it. Derek says I want to play Halo now. Oh, Halo. All the old days. James says in Ireland they were not allowed to congregate. Yeah, there's some weirdness still going on in the world. Oh, like I was trying to say, in California, they are still not allowing indoor dining in California. They're still destroying businesses in California. Oh, dear God. It's still happening. Like, this is still happening. It's sick. This is sick. 702-957-1037. Going to read some chat, finish this up. Bailey says, Fortnite, Save the World is the best. Fortnite. Eli says, not a fan of Fortnite. Yeah. I think I played it once and was like, nah, too cartoony. No thanks. Madeeb, what's up, says, I'm playing Miss Pac-Man right now. Uh-oh, the ghosts. The ghosts. The paranormal and Pac-Man. Let's see. Madeeb says, music especially, look at popular musicians' income. Well, not only that, like, the Lady Gaga stuff and the what's her name? The Billie Eilish stuff. Like, there's a lot of, like, Bury Your Friend and stuff like this. It's like, it's almost like what's not Mothman, what's his name? Slender Man, right? It's kind of like the same sort of thing. It's just weird. It's weird, right? Let's see. You still want to send a cursive letter to a P.O. box. That sounds very, very 1980s, man. But that's amazing. I'll get you a P.O. box, man. I literally have one. It's literally hanging on a hook 12 feet from me with the P.O. box number on it. I'll get you one. I'll get you a P.O. box number, I promise. Let's see. Bailey says, if people are playing violent games because they're little punks, that's the problem. Well, and not only that, like, so it's like the thing, right? It's like if you're listening to violent music, right? Does it amp you up and make you want to go like carjack, an old lady? You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. It's not kosher. But that's like a predisposed type of situation. It's like people that are looking to be violent and they want like an excuse. Well, look, it's in the video game. I don't know. Bailey says it's about intention, even with consciousness. If people are playing video games, yep, there we go. And Madeeb says nanotechnology controlling and monitoring humans. Quantum Vortex Energy says covert colonization of our solar system. Holy smokes. There we go. The Game Vet says, I love this topic. I just ordered a pinball machine. Perfect. Yeah. It's all good. Thank you, Jay. Again, don't feel compelled to send money my way. It helps. It's nice. I appreciate it. Don't feel like it's necessary. It's more important that you guys call, that you be engaged. You want to be. You spread the word. That's the most important thing. Like Beechwood said, he's trying to get some people to listen and call in, and it's a good conversation, right? If you just let it be. It's a good conversation. Let's see. What else do we got? Game Vet says, I love it. Perfect. What's up, Anton? Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Penny says, good day to you, Anton. Yes, good day. Good day, my fine sir. Game Vet, hey, everyone. Sorry I was on the road. That's all right. You're allowed, bro. You got to work. You got to provide a living. Mike says, listen to Mad Child. Dude is bonkers. I don't know who Mad Child is, man. I don't know who Mad Child is. I'll be Madman. I'll be Madman, Mr. Strange. Anyway, as we finish up, got a couple minutes for you guys. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. Tomorrow, I think we're going to have... I'm still trying to... Now, this is the thing, guys. If we're going to be on the show together, and you're going to be on the show, can you please just... Like, I want confirmations and, communicate with me. Timothy, where are you at, buddy? I think Tinfoil Timothy University is going to be on the show tomorrow. I hope. We've kind of tentatively planned this, but I haven't got like an actual, yep, I'll be there at 7. So, yeah. So we might have an Ash situation tomorrow as well. Let's see. Timothy, if you're listening or not, it's okay. It's fine. As you know, as we know, everything's all good. We're all human. We all have all our things. It's fine. We have things we have to do. But with any luck, tomorrow we'll have Tinfoil Timothy University on this show, and the topic is undetermined, and we're still working this out. So there we go. But as of right now, let's see. There we go. Chilling, hanging out, talking about all the weird stuff. All the weird stuff the world has to offer, right? And so just think about it. Right now, think about this. In the old days, if you were like, video games cause violence, they're like, you're old, right? But I don't know. Now think about it. And you have VR, and you may be changing rooms in your house into a VR gaming setup to carry a battle rifle, which is made of plastic and doesn't actually fire, but you'll be pulling a trigger on a phony rifle on like a VR holodeck inside your house shooting at bad guys, enemies. Weird. Weird. Anyway, like I said, it may not be a thing yet, but let's keep an eye out. Let's keep thinking, keep our minds open, because you never know. You just never know the way things happen, the way things change, and the way we roll this. So as we finish, we're done. We're done. So the bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're going to do, we'll rejoin Conspiracy News on Sunday, and we'll do an abbreviated week next week with that. And then tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific, you'll have Troubled Minds again, 7 to 10, 3 hours, 2 hours on the Fringe, and then a third hour here. So we're just going to keep doing the same thing, talking about this and some other stuff. So I'll try and come up with a good show idea tomorrow that is not this, because, well, this wasn't fantastic, but it's okay. Like I said, it's interesting enough to continue the conversation until tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the calls tonight. Thanks for the chat. And I know it's not aliens. Everybody wants to hear about the aliens, right? This was Wednesday night was Ash Alien Night, and he had some he had a rover that landed. He had to go deal with. All right, let's smash the music and let's finish this sucker up. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. And play this. Let's play this. Ow! 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 Yep. Sometimes you just want to howl at the moon, and sometimes you've been holding on to an empty beer for just a little bit too long. Yeah, I'll let you decide what's what. Thanks for hanging out. This has been Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. This whole community is us. It's okay to be you. You be you. Try and be the best person you can be. And that's really what this is all about. No labels, no politics, no this, no that. Let's just hang out and talk about all the things, which we'll continue to do. I don't think we have Ash tomorrow night. No Ash tomorrow night. You got just me and maybe Timothy. You'll see. Timothy from Georgia, hopefully. We're going to try and get this worked out. But for right now, don't worry about that. You guys, put your feet up. Time to relax. Time to fire up a violent video game and go smoke the bad guys. No mercy. No mercy. Yes. All right. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific, 3 hours. We'll do Troubled Minds again, and look forward to talking to you guys then and seeing you then. I don't know what the topic is. We'll have something worked out. It will be a little better than tonight. I can promise you that. A little more hot and spicy. Otherwise, be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Talk to you guys tomorrow. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.